superior specs compared to MediaTek, it was an attractive alternative. As the Mi 3 was released as a hot product, the first batch quickly reached numerous consumers. Unboxing and review videos began to surface from various tech bloggers. While ranking the most popular bloggers may be difficult, the top contenders included one old fish, Tech Circle Boss, and a new blogger named Big White Talks Tech. There had once been another blogger known as Old John Talks Tech, but seemed he had vanished from the scene, perhaps having overindulged. Greetings, everyone. I am Haoyang, and today I would like to share my insights regarding the Xiaomi Mi 3. First and foremost, the aesthetics of this device are undeniably sleek and lightweight, as Xiaomi has significantly transformed its previous design, infusing the entire device with a robust business aura. Secondly, the 1080p IPS fully laminated display boasts an impressive equivalent pixel density of 441 ppi, complemented by the second-generation Gorilla Glass, which enhances the device's durability and resistance to wear. However, the most remarkable aspect of the Mi 3 lies in its groundbreaking utilization of the two most powerful processor platforms in the world, achieving an astounding AnTuTu score of 36,000. Do you comprehend what this signifies? It denotes that the Mi 3 possesses unparalleled performance globally. Neither NVIDIA Tegra 4 nor Qualcomm Snapdragon 800 has a benchmark score lower than 36,000. Even the Kunping 2, priced over 3,000, and the iPhone 5S, starting at over 5,000, failed to reach this score. Particularly, the version equipped with the Tegra 4 processor has performed flawlessly with several demanding games, allowing for the highest graphical settings. Moreover, I must mention the remarkable MIUI V5 system, which operates with an astonishing speed that seems beyond the capabilities of this era. Coupled with a 13-megapixel rear camera, I can confidently assert that the Mi 3 can easily surpass the Kunping 2 from Hongqin. The 3000 mAh battery, paired with 225W charging, alleviates any concerns regarding battery life, as Xiaomi has delivered a commendable product with the Mi 3 for its loyal fans. I am not merely praising the Mi 3. This device is genuinely worthy of acquisition. The fact that it sold over 600,000 units within the first 8 minutes of its launch speaks volumes. Following the release of this review by Haoyang Digital, the comment section was polarized. Those who appreciated the Mi 3 expressed profound admiration, particularly for its two top-tier processors. I shall state this unequivocally. The world's most powerful processors, the most affordable Snapdragon 800 device. The design of the Mi 3 has resonated deeply with me. Who dares assert that Xiaomi lacks design prowess? Step forward. Regrettably, I was unable to secure the Snapdragon 800 version at launch, and my unit has yet to arrive. I must critique Ruifeng Express for their slow delivery compared to others. Are those upstairs mere shills, or has the blogger accepted compensation? With the Mi 3's design, if you were to drop it, one might mistake it for a Nokia Lumia 1020 were it not for the branding. Is this truly a testament to design capability? Why does my Mi 3 differ from the blogger S? After merely a couple of gaming sessions, mine overheats as I own the Tegra 4 version. The truth is revealed. This blogger is undoubtedly an emissary of Lei Jun, claiming to outperform Apple and Kunping 2. Can these two devices even be compared to Xiaomi? Furthermore, can a 3000 mAh battery and 225W charging truly be termed substantial? After 2 years of effort, Xiaomi has barely caught up to last year's 40W charging from Hongqin. I shall patiently await the release of the Kunping 3. What a comparison. Last year, Hongqin already offered 40W. Xiaomi has struggled for a year to barely reach half of that capability. I would wager that the forthcoming Kunping 3 will directly feature 40W charging, still priced at $1998. Observing the polarized comments online, Wang Huading expressed concern to Li Wanxiang. Li Gu, is this truly all right? It seems rather precarious. Li Wanxiang smiled slightly and replied, Xiao Wang. While you excel in mobile development, you falter in marketing, the objective is to incite discussion among netizens. If they argue, even better. I find this somewhat perplexing. Consider this. As long as people are talking online, regardless of whether their opinions are positive or negative, there will be attention, allowing potential customers to more easily discover the specifications and features of our Mi 3. If there is a topic of discussion, then our investment in Haoyang will not be in vain. Wang Huading, only half comprehending, recognized that while he could elucidate mobile phones effortlessly, this marketing strategy was entirely unfamiliar to him. Truly, he is a master of manipulating scarcity in marketing. Li Wanxiang himself felt a pang of hardship. The initial hunger marketing strategy had been effective, generating buzz and discussion across the internet about how difficult it was to acquire a Xiaomi device, with those who succeeded feeling compelled to showcase their purchases online. All of this was shattered when Hongxing began offering immediate availability, with comparable specifications and faster charging. And being a long-established brand, they had the audacity to sell outright. From that moment on, Li Wanxiang essentially abandoned the hunger marketing approach. Continuing would only lead to users being snatched away by Hongxing. The recent collaboration with digital bloggers was an attempt to explore a new marketing avenue. With the proliferation of smartphones and the complete rollout of 3G networks, consumers can now easily engage in video streaming on mobile devices, revealing an opportunity to Li Wanxiang. Everyone must eat, including digital bloggers. However, they currently find themselves with limited advertising opportunities and have yet to discover effective monetization strategies. Li Wanxiang, on the other hand, opted to invest directly, encouraging these bloggers to lean favorably towards Xiaomi in their reviews, essentially soft advertising. Yet this Haoyang is truly lacking. There is a distinct art to promoting a smartphone, and high-end soft advertising should never overtly state that a device is excellent, yet leave audiences feeling it is indispensable. Li Wanxiang mentally excluded Haoyang from Xiaomi's collaboration list, recognizing that his earlier explanations were mere attempts to cover up the obvious signs of paid promotion that had backfired. As time progressed to the 23rd, the employees at Hongxing's mobile laboratory, after 3 days of rigorous testing on the Mi 3, finally gathered sufficient data. Consequently, 2 devices from the Tegra 4 platform were rendered inoperable. The drawbacks were glaring. The prolonged testing period was necessitated by the need to compile adequate data. According to Dr. Zhou's team, this device is unworthy of my time, even if given for free. Upon subjecting the Mi 3 to initial stress tests, severe overheating issues arose, and further increases in testing intensity resulted in outright device failures. Instances of lag and application crashes were alarmingly frequent, consuming the majority of testing time. Ultimately, the conclusion drawn was that the Tegra 4 platform exhibits exceedingly poor compatibility with applications. Upon receiving the data, Dr. Zhou promptly forwarded the findings to Chen Chen. President Chen, the results are in. Dr. Zhou's voice, tinged with excitement, echoed within Chen Chen's office. The results are in. Is the Tegra 4 platform flawed? Chen Chen was instantly elated. After ensuring that Shun Rou prepared a cup of tea for Dr. Zhou, Chen Chen joined him on the office sofa, reviewing the data. President Shun, you were correct. I meticulously compared Lei Jun's statements at the launch with their official announcements, and indeed, the results we obtained from disassembly diverged significantly. Lei Jun claimed that the Mi 3's Unicom version would utilize Qualcomm's Snapdragon 800 platform, specifically the MSM 8974AB processor. Yet our disassembly revealed that the Mi 3 Unicom version is actually equipped with the MSM 8274AB model. Is there a distinction? Chen Chen recalled the infamous chip switching incident vividly. Though the details of the 2 models had faded from memory, especially since he had purchased the mobile version featuring the Tegra 4 platform. He remembered that Xiaomi had responded within 24 hours, issuing an apology and offering refunds to users of the Mi 3 Unicom version. Following the statement issued by the company, the matter essentially faded into obscurity. In terms of performance, there is no significant difference between the 2 processors. The primary distinction lies in their network capabilities. The MSM 8274AB is compatible with Unicom's WCDMA network, while the MSM 8974AB supports 4G networks. This is their only divergence. Ironically, after disassembling the device and conducting our tests, we flipped over the packaging of a Xiaomi Mi 3, only to find it boldly labeled with MSM 8274AB. I believe this situation does not require our intervention. Discerning consumers will readily identify this discrepancy. Chen Chen nodded, acknowledging that the incident involving the Unicom version of the Xiaomi Mi 3 constitutes a crisis of trust for the brand, which could be mitigated through public relations efforts. In the previous timeline, on December 31, 2013, a mere 117 days after the announcement, the Unicom version of the Mi 3 finally hit the market. One cannot help but admire the patience of the fans back then. The initial batch of the Unicom and mobile versions of the Mi 3 totaled a mere 50,000 units, making it a stroke of luck for those who managed to secure the Unicom version amidst fierce competition. However, observing the sales figures released by Xiaomi now, with a staggering 600,000 units available simultaneously for both versions, if a crisis were to occur, it could seriously harm the brand. Did you expect this? There aren't that many. Les Yun the Mox. What about the Tegra 4 version? Chen Chen inquired further. The Tegra 4 version is fundamentally similar to the Snapdragon 800 version. The overall design of the phone does not exhibit any major flaws, with most of the issues we encountered during testing primarily stemming from temperature control. Firstly, NVIDIA's Tegra 4 boasts a nominal frequency of 1.8 GHz, employing a methodology akin to Intel's Turbo Boost. Under typical usage conditions, only one core can momentarily reach 1.8 GHz under full load. In practice, it is rare for all 4 cores to simultaneously achieve this frequency without addressing thermal management. The Tegra 4 maintained full load across all cores for merely 167 seconds before being forced to throttle. The Tegra 4 is exceedingly sensitive to temperature. When we pushed all 4 cores to maximum load, the core temperature soared to 71 °C in a remarkably short time. Subsequently, thermal management intervened, causing the Tegra 4 to throttle down, stabilizing at 796 MHz after a few minutes. Concurrently, the external temperature of the phone reached 45.6 °C, with hotspots concentrated around the earpiece and the back of the device, where temperatures peaked at 47.2 °C, while the battery temperature was recorded at 48 °C. During the throttling period, noticeable lag occurred in phone usage, with some applications crashing unexpectedly. Additionally, there were issues with network connectivity. Without a wireless connection, the Mi 3 would occasionally display full signal strength yet exhibit exceedingly slow or non-existent internet speeds. After detailing these findings, Dr. Zhou handed Chen Chen a lengthy report on the Mi 3 mobile version. A few minutes later, Chen Chen set the report down, a smile gracing his face as he addressed Dr. Zhou. In the coming days, Lei Jun will be occupied. While these issues are not fatal, they do affect Xiaomi's reputation and the trust consumers place in the brand. If I push this further, those 600,000 units could genuinely cause Lei Jun significant trouble. I want to be troubled for a while. At this moment, Dr. Zhou, with a serious expression, remarked to Chen Chen, "Mr. Chen, I do not understand why you persist in targeting Xiaomi. I'm not well-versed in marketing strategies, but I believe that as long as we focus on refining our products and genuinely consider the needs of consumers, we should not need to undermine competitors to achieve sales. I suspect you're planning to hire some online influencers to stir the waters and generate hype for our Red Star 3 launch on the 28th. Am I right? This is entirely unnecessary. Our Red Star 3 features a Yangtze River battery, our own chip, and a unique fast-charging technology. There's no need to rely on undermining Xiaomi to generate buzz. Do you still consider Lei Jun's Xiaomi a competitor?" Dr. Zhou's words struck a chord with Chen Chen, causing him to reflect. Had he indeed lost perspective? In the current landscape, Xiaomi is no match for Red Star, whether in budget or mid-range devices, and certainly not in the high-end market, where Xiaomi is virtually absent. The previous generation's Xiaomi 2 series sold nearly 14 million units. This time, it is likely to reach only around 10 million, failing even to surpass their own Kunpeng series. Clearly, they pose no threat. Dr. Zhou, I comprehend your perspective, but I cannot simply swallow my pride. Moreover, even if I do not take action, consumers will inevitably uncover these issues. I am merely hastening the timeline, not defaming or spreading rumors about Xiaomi. Mr. Chen, as long as you are confident in your approach, I believe Red Star will undoubtedly evolve into a remarkable company under your guidance. We must not allow these matters to affect our brand. All right, Dr. Zhou, I have my own plans. Chen Chen felt that, for Xiaomi, this hardly constituted suppression. He was merely articulating the truth. How could that be deemed oppressive? This Xiaomi company, if not kept busy, might concoct further complications. And given that Lei Jun had propelled Xiaomi to become the 3rd largest globally and the leading brand in China in a mere few years, it would be prudent to keep him occupied. Once Dr. Zhou departed, Chen Chen promptly turned to Shenrou next door, saying, "Shenrou, here are the data regarding the Xiaomi Mi 3. Immediately arrange for someone to disseminate this information on Weibo and forums. Remember, we only need to initiate the conversation. No need to dive into the fray directly." "Understood, Mr. Chen. I will make the arrangements right away." Chapter 107. Feng Fu's discovery at a university in the capital. The School of Engineering, Guanliang excitedly received the latest Xiaomi Mi 3 from a courier. As a devoted fan, he was determined to seize the opportunity for an early release. To his surprise, Xiaomi had been exceptionally efficient this time. After successfully purchasing the device, it was dispatched the same evening and arrived at his doorstep the following day. This time, he had opted for the Unicom version of the Mi 3 equipped with the Snapdragon 800, not out of disdain for NVIDIA, but rather due to a previous experience with an HTC smartphone featuring a Tegra 2 processor, which had nearly cost him his sanity due to overheating and lag. Thus, he was hesitant to purchase the Tegra 4 version of the Mi 3, even if it meant switching to a Unicom card. "Hey, old Guan, your new phone arrived so quickly?" His roommate Feng Fu exclaimed as he saw Guan Liang entering with the package. "Huh, Mr. Lei mentioned this would be a direct sale. I completed payment yesterday morning, and it was shipped out the same evening. This is the fastest I've ever seen. Kudos to the courier. As Guan Liang prepared to unbox the device, several of his classmates, who had free periods, gathered around. Wow, it looks stunning. Xiaomi has truly revamped its design. This is far more attractive than your Mi 1S. Hurry, powered on. When I save up some money, I want to get one too. Amidst the chatter, Guan Liang powered on the device, navigating through the setup process to connect to the network and finally reach the home screen. MIUI V5 was indeed swift. Just look at the smoothness of the scrolling and app launches. Let me give it a try. The camera has been optimized, right? I must test it. Hey, hold on. Let me transfer my data first. There's no need to rush. Guan Liang impatiently shooed his classmates aside. Look at you, now that you have a new phone. You're pushing your friends away. Feng Fu, holding his old homie one, gazed enviously at Guan Liang as he transferred data to his new device. He casually picked up the nearby packaging and instruction manual for a closer look. Upon examining it, he stumbled upon some discrepancies. Although Feng Fu currently could not afford the Mi 3, he had meticulously memorized all the specifications since the launch, eagerly following every detail. Old Guan, something seems amiss. Didn't Team Mr. Lei mention that the new device utilizes the Snapdragon 801? Yet, the packaging seems to suggest otherwise. Feng Fu's voice drew the attention of several others, who turned to look at him. Guan Liang took the packaging box and instruction manual from his hands and examined them closely, but after a lengthy scrutiny, he found nothing wrong. Old phone, what is not right? It clearly states Snapdragon 801. Feng Fu pointed to the back of the packaging, tapping on the printed text that followed Snapdragon 801 in parentheses. Snapdragon 801 8274AB, what's the issue? Guan Liang, perplexed, noted that the labeling appeared accurate, indeed indicating the Snapdragon 801 processor. At the launch event, Mr. Lei stated that the Mi 3 utilized the most powerful Snapdragon 800 platform, the 8974AB. Now it's switched to 8274AB. Of course, it's different. Is that true? I don't recall Mr. Lei saying that. Do you remember anything? When Mr. Lei held the conference, you were busy watching Teacher San. How could you remember? Let us check the official website for clarification. I'll bring over the computer. Feng Fu powered on the computer and located the Mi 3's detail page, while another roommate opened the video of the Mi 3 launch. After a detailed comparison, they ultimately confirmed that the labeling on the new device diverged from what was stated on the official website and at Mr. Lei Jun's launch event. At that moment, Guan Liang remained skeptical. He couldn't fathom that a company like Xiaomi would engage in such practices. Perhaps it was merely a printing error on the box? Or maybe the two models were not vastly different. One was 8974AB and the other 8274AB. They sounded quite similar. Surely, there is no significant distinction between these two models? It's possible the box has a printing error and the 8274AB model doesn't exist at all. Let us search online to see if Xiaomi has inadvertently provided you with a downclock version of the 801. Feng Fu and Guan Liang scoured the web, but found little useful information regarding these two processor models. Instead, they stumbled upon numerous inquiries about the differences between 8274AB and 8974AB, yet none had received answers. Never mind. Let us leave a message on the Xiaomi forum and wait for their official announcement. Such scenes unfolded in various locations across the nation in the days that followed. As inquiries about the differences between these two processor models proliferated online, many individuals began to express their concerns. Old fish, come out and enlighten us about the distinctions between these two processor models. I can't shake the feeling that I've been deceived by Lei Jun, haha. Swapping chips right after the Phone S release. Xiaomi, you're truly something. Hey, the king of the tech circle, did you get an engineering model ahead of time? Come on, let us see a teardown. By the way, I searched online, and it seems like everyone has the 8274AB. There is probably no difference, right? It's not like some have 8974 and others have 8274 mixed in. Old fish, thank you all for your attention. Having seen your questions, I promptly sought information and consulted experts. To discern the differences between these two models, we must first understand how the Snapdragon 8X74AB series came about. Firstly, both Snapdragon 8974AB and 8274AB belong to the Snapdragon 800 series, uniformly designated as Snapdragon 801 processors. Let us discuss the distinctions between 8974 and 8974AB. These two processors indeed differ. Mr. Lei merely glossed over this at the launch, so allow me to elaborate. The MSM 8974AB has a clock speed of 2 GHz, surpassing the 26 GHz of MSM 8974. Both processors utilize the Adreno 330 graphics module, Yet the MSM8974AB achieves a GPU frequency of 550 MHz, nearly 23 more performance than MSM8974. The maximum RAM bus frequency also varies. MSM8974AB supports up to 933 MHz, while MSM8974 caps at 800 MHz. The ISP frequency has improved from 320 MHz in MSM8974 to 465 MHz in MSM8974AB. It's worth noting that the ISP in Qualcomm processors differs somewhat from the conventional camera ISPs, with the ISP in MSM8974AB resembling a coprocessor chip designed for handling camera, video, and audio decoding tasks in a low-power module. Chapter 108. Mr. Lei, we have a problem. This aspect somewhat parallels the Hongxing Lingxiao processor. The reason the Hongxing Kunpeng phone excels in photo processing is primarily due to the higher ISP frequency of their Lingxiao processor, which offers superior computational power. I wonder if Qualcomm drew inspiration from Hongxing's Lingxiao design. Having discussed the distinctions between MSM8974 and MSM8974AB, some viewers may still be confused. What is the difference between MSM8974AB and MSM8274AB? Why delve into MSM8974? It is well known that when a processor manufacturer produces the same model, variations may arise due to differences in production batches. Some batches may have a higher yield, allowing those processors to operate at higher frequencies, while others with lower yields may be operated at reduced frequencies. This phenomenon is commonly referred to as differing physical characteristics. Thus, MSM8974AB represents the higher performing batch, whereas MSM8974 corresponds to the less capable one. Having clarified these two distinct processor models, we must now discuss the differences between the MSM8274AB and MSM8974AB utilized in the Mi3. Both are refined upgrades from the 8974 series. However, MSM8974AB supports TD-LTE 4G networks. This means that, as Xiaomi advertises, some adept users can enable TD-LTE 4G connectivity with this processor. In contrast, MSM8274 only supports WCDMA 3G networks. Therefore, these two processor designations are not merely different names for the same chip. They are entirely distinct processors. There is no basis for speculation regarding a printing error by Xiaomi. The company could not possibly be unaware of this issue. Otherwise, Mr. Lei Wunti have stated at the launch that the Mi 3 employs the MSM8974AB processor. I checked the Xiaomi official website, and as of now, the details for the Mi 3 still indicate 8974AB. Qualcomm's public documentation stipulates that if utilizing the 8X74AB series with different network standards, it must be clearly stated that these are two distinct models. I'm not a legal expert, so I cannot ascertain whether this constitutes false advertising or if it qualifies for a refund or compensation. Perhaps someone knowledgeable in the comments can elaborate. I refrain from passing judgment on this incident involving the Mi 3. I, Old Fish, strive to present an impartial perspective on the differences between Qualcomm's processor models. Upon the release of Old Fish's video, it immediately attracted tens of thousands of viewers, a number that continues to rise. Born for enthusiasts? I believe it was born to deceive. Xiaomi's sleight of hand is truly impressive. I now even question whether their previous phones had their chips swapped. Otherwise, how could such high specifications be sold for $19.99? Xiaomi, oh Xiaomi, how could you do this to me after I skipped the class just to grab Mi 3? Who would have thought that purchasing a mobile phone could lead to such a chip replacement debacle? Thankfully, I opted for the mobile version of the Xiaomi Mi 3. Unlike Qualcomm, which offers an array of models, they only provide this singular option. Indeed, although the delivery of my mobile version may be slightly delayed, such an incident would be utterly inconceivable. A chip replacement? What could possibly serve as a substitute? The mobile version is undoubtedly superior. How outrageous that Xiaomi should consider refunding. Refund? Could someone step forward and clarify whether we can demand a triple compensation? The performance of the 8974AB and 8274AB chips is entirely identical. I do not comprehend the rationale behind your demands for a refund. Xiaomi has yet to issue an official statement, and you are already clamoring for compensation? How presumptuous of you! The distinction between these two processor codes has not been clarified by Qualcomm. Yet you hastily conclude that they represent different models based solely on a so-called digital influencer's video? I place my trust in Lei Jun and Xiaomi. They would never resort to such underhanded tactics. Even if the 8974AB supports mobile 4G networks, the chip is locked and thus unusable, rendering it equivalent to the 8274AB. I'm baffled by the incessant barking from your ranks. I took the liberty of researching, and indeed, the 8274AB is functionally identical to the 8974AB. I urge everyone to exercise rationality. Let us adhere to Xiaomi's official announcements and not be swayed by those with ulterior motives. What are you trying to incite? Did Lei Jun not refer to the 8974AB during the press conference? Is it not clearly indicated as such in the product details? I am truly baffled by your capacity for selective reasoning. False advertising is precisely that. Oh dear, has the defense begun already? There is still no conclusion? Influencers have disassembled the device, and it is indeed equipped with the 8274AB. This is certainly not a printing error. Personnel dispatched by Shan Ro have just arrived at Xiaomi's official Weibo and forums, only to find them inundated with posts and comments demanding an explanation from Xiaomi. The members of the Ocean Studio, observing that minimal effort was required on their part since Xiaomi's own users had already raised numerous concerns, nonetheless decided to stoke the flames of this public outcry. Lei Jun, how could you have found yourself in such a predicament? Huang Zhang, witnessing the uniform calls for refunds on Xiaomi's official blog and forums, could hardly contain his laughter and quickly dialed by Yongxiang. Hey, should I add more fuel to the fire? Perhaps this wave could bring Xiaomi to its knees. If all 300,000 units of the Mi 3 were returned, it would certainly be enough to give Lei Jun a headache. And if they demand triple compensation, well, that would be quite something. Chen Chen's attempts to undermine Xiaomi were merely a means to vent his frustrations. Huang Zhang, however, was eagerly anticipating Xiaomi's downfall, harboring grievances over Lei Jun's poaching of his talent from the Mei clan. Huang, let's not go down that path. There is no need to kick them while they are down. Given that Xiaomi's own fans are already causing enough trouble for Lei Jun, we need not involve ourselves further. We can simply observe how Xiaomi navigates this situation. Huang Zhang conceded. The public sentiment had already crystallized, and whether he participated or not would make little difference. It was best to sit back and watch the spectacle unfold. Lei, we have a situation. Li Wanxiang and Lin Bing rushed into Lei Jun's office, visibly agitated. What do you mean a situation? Everything seems perfectly fine to me. The 400,000 units of the Mi 3 have mostly been shipped, and there shouldn't be any fans hounding us for delivery. Chapter 109, Li Wanxiang's Crisis Management. However, the arrival of Li Wanxiang and Lin Bing indicated that something significant had transpired. Wanxiang, what is going on? Lei Yun inquired. Lei, perhaps you should take a look at our forums in Weibo. Li Banqiang responda cautelously. Lei Jun, perplexed, opened Weibo and was met with a flood of demands for refunds. As he scrolled down, he finally grasped the gravity of the situation. This was only the 5th day since the launch of the Mi 3. How could public sentiment shift so rapidly? Just this morning, there was no indication of any discontent, yet by the afternoon, the platform had been inundated. Lei, numerous users have discovered discrepancies between the processor model indicated on our Mi 3 packaging and the model you announced during the press conference, as well as the one listed on our official website. A couple days ago, customer service reported that a user had called to inquire about the differences between the two models, but since it was only a handful of inquiries, they did not take it seriously. Then, this afternoon, a digital influencer named Lao Yu uploaded a video explaining the differences, and it spiraled from there. Our customer service lines are nearly overwhelmed. I rushed over as soon as I received the news. Upon hearing this, Lei Jun's expression turned grave. Lin Bing, Wanxiang, the situation is dire. This poses a significant challenge to our company, one that could even threaten our very existence. Let us set aside questions of responsibility for now. We will conduct a thorough investigation once this matter has been resolved. Wanxiang, you must issue a public announcement to clarify this situation immediately and contain the spread of this unrest. Lin Bing, contact Qualcomm Huaxia without delay and ensure they issue a corresponding announcement. We must present a unified front. Xiaomi is Qualcomm's largest client in Huaxia, and the newly appointed vice president will likely cooperate. Act swiftly. If users demand refunds, we will honor those requests unconditionally. We cannot evade responsibility. I have faith that a portion of our users will choose not to seek refunds. In critical moments, Lei Jun remained composed, decisively issuing the refund directive. Shortly thereafter, a joint statement emerged on Weibo from the CEO of Xiaomi, Xiaomi Mobile, Qualcomm, and Qualcomm's vice president, Chen Chen. The essence of the statement was as follows. During discussions between Xiaomi and Qualcomm, the engineers at Qualcomm referred to the 8974AB series of chips collectively as 8974AB, inadvertently misleading Xiaomi which resulted in the use of this nomenclature during the press conference and in official product descriptions. This lack of diligence on both Xiaomi and Qualcomm's part led to the confusion, and Xiaomi extended its sincerest apologies to users, providing detailed specifications for the chip series, affirming that their performance is identical, with only differences in network compatibility. Furthermore, the 8974AB, constrained by its radio frequency and signal amplifier, cannot be modified to become a universal version. Should users wish for a refund, Xiaomi will process returns unconditionally. Qualcomm's response acknowledged that their use of chip models such as 8274, 8674, 8974, 8274AB, and 8974AB could lead to confusion among consumers, and they had adopted classifications such as 200, 400, 600, and 800 for mobile processors. The engineers at Qualcomm indeed used 8974 as a blanket term for the 8x74 series during discussions with manufacturers, effectively conceding to the content of Xiaomi's announcement. This alignment of statements was precisely why Lei Jun sought a unified response from Qualcomm. Following the release of these announcements, many users felt that the impact was minimal, leading to a quiet resolution. However, a segment of users perceived Xiaomi's actions as deceptive, opting to return their purchases. After addressing these matters, Lei Jun sank wearily into a sofa. A staggering 110,000 units. An astonishing 110,000 users had chosen to return their purchases. This was a source of immense distress for Lei Jun. It is not as though this return of tens of thousands of devices represented a total loss, as these returned units could still be utilized in after-sales processes. If necessary, they could be refurbished and sold with relative ease. In truth, the financial implications were trivial. Xiaomi was not short on funds, nor was Lei Jun. Yet, the fissures of trust, once formed, would cast a long shadow over Xiaomi's relationship with its users and its brand integrity. Meanwhile, Chen Chen quietly observed from his office, watching as Xiaomi endeavored to quell this crisis of confidence, simultaneously reflecting on his own strategies regarding the launch of the Hongqing 3. Due to the fact that Yangtze River Battery must first supply the Kunpeng Phone 2, its initial production capacity has been almost entirely consumed by this demand, forcing a postponement of the Red Star 3's launch. Another reason is that Chen Chen does not wish to release a mere PowerPoint phone, a mindset influenced by his previous life as a consumer. However, now as a business owner, he must adopt a manufacturer's perspective. Even if the Red Star 3 sells only a few units after its launch, it would be unacceptable to witness users of the Mi 3 returning their devices while being unable to purchase the Red Star 3. Chen Chen acknowledges this as a significant strategic misstep on his part, realizing that he should focus on the broader direction while heeding the advice of Lu Weiqi and others in various matters. Additionally, he recognizes his own impatience. It is indeed disheartening not to exploit the deficiencies of Mi, yet he should wait until the Red Star 3 has made substantial progress before revealing such issues. Knock, knock, knock. A series of knocks interrupted Chen Chen's contemplation. Guomin. Subsequently, Lu Weibing entered Chen Chen's office. Mr. Chen, Lu Qi and the team have some updates. Lu Qi? Chen Chen recalled the name, albeit vaguely. Yes, he is with our Africa business division. They have established a company in Nigeria and have largely completed market research over the past month. Currently, the mobile phone market in countries like South Africa and Nigeria is predominantly monopolized by 3 major brands, with additional competition from Apple and Nokia, while local brands are virtually absent. Furthermore, the local carriers are not large-scale operators like those in China, making nationwide coverage impossible. Instead, there are 1 or 2 carriers per region, resulting in highly unstable signals. This means users there must prepare multiple SIM cards from different carriers to ensure proper functionality. Lu Qi and his team have suggested that the company consider developing a smartphone with triple SIM card slots, as they believe this would address a significant pain point for local consumers. After Lu Weibing finished speaking, he observed Chen Chen, who seemed to have transformed entirely. Disregarding the domestic market for the moment, several products combined with internet sales have propelled the Red Star to new heights. Initially, I thought that targeting the African market required multiple SIM slots, a large battery, and a loudspeaker. I was skeptical, but it turns out Lu Qi's market research aligns with your insights, Mr. Chen. However, 3 SIM slots seem too conservative. If we aim to penetrate the market decisively, why not push the envelope further with 4 or even 5 SIM slots? I'll instruct the development department to devise a plan, and once we wrap up the Red Star 3, I will revisit the matters concerning the African market. Chapter 110. Huangzhong, the innocent casualty. Although the weather in the capital had turned pleasantly cool by late October, Mr. Lei, chairman and CEO of Mi Company, felt an unusual agitation within. A disquiet that was hard to articulate. He had fallen ill recently, not with a typical ailment, but rather with a deep-seated anxiety. Lei Jun felt as though he were being scrutinized wherever he went, with whispers mocking the dual-platform strategy of the Mi 3. The discussions within the company and the pointed jabs online made him feel particularly affronted and unable to accept the ridicule. At this point, merely seeing the Mi 3 model would darken his countenance. Moreover, in moments of distraction, he even fancied he heard someone say he was short-sighted, greedy for small gains, and ultimately suffering great losses. The catalyst for this turmoil was the Mi 3's two processors, billed as the world's most powerful. Yet the Unicom version was reported to have undergone a chip swap, while the mobile version was plagued with severe overheating and lag issues. Li Wanxiang's crisis management temporarily quelled the uproar, yet the company still faced the reality of over 200,000 units requiring refunds. He lamented his desire to save a little money. When Huang first approached him, he too had hoped for a gamble on the Tegra 4. This was dictated by Mi's cost-performance strategy, compelling him to take such steps. Alas, he lost the bet. In dealing with external criticisms, he acted with sincerity. The Unicom version allowed for no questions asked returns, while the mobile version not only supported returns, but also urgently deployed a system upgrade to optimize performance, extending the warranty of the Mi 3 by an additional 3 months. It was due to Lei Jun's decisiveness that Mi Company's reputation was not entirely tarnished. After addressing the external matters, he conducted a thorough internal investigation. How could the development team and lab have overlooked such a serious overheating and compatibility issue with the Tegra 4? Was it truly an oversight? Or had members of the lab been compromised by NVIDIA? Lei Jun was determined to uncover the truth. However, even if he found answers, what would it matter? He had personally authorized the procurement order, negotiating for 2 million chips. He suspected foul play, with his first suspicion landing on Huang Zhang, who harbored deep animosity toward him. Yet, how had Huang so swiftly identified the issue with the Tegra 4, unless he had known of the chip's flaws beforehand? His second suspect was Chen Chen of the Red Star, as both the Red Star 3 and Mi 3 catered to the same consumer demographic. Undermining the Mi 3 would undoubtedly benefit the Red Star 3. Yet, upon reflection, if Chen Chen had been aware of the Mi 3's problems, he would have adjusted the launch order, prioritizing the Red Star 3 over the Kunpeng Phone 2. Such a significant corporation typically would not make such a blunder. Thus, Lei Jun's principal suspects remained Huang Zhang and Zhou Hongyi of Chiku, both individuals with whom he had passed grievances, likely relishing the misfortunes of the Mi 3. Huang Zhang. Zotapeo, just wait. After 2 days of despondency, Lei Jun finally resolved to regain his focus. This time, he would personally oversee the development of the Mi Note 1, striving for a triumphant comeback. Finally, the date arrived on the 28th, yet Lei Jun had little interest in attending the Red Star 3 launch event. The previous day, Red Star had released its final promotional poster for the Red Star 3, showcasing peak heat dissipation and exceptional chip performance, further solidifying the determination of Mi 3 mobile users to seek refunds. Nevertheless, Lei Jun remained indifferent, attributing the situation to the underwhelming performance of the Tegra 4 he had chosen. Welcome, everyone, to our Red Star new product launch event once again. Today, we are excited to unveil the Dragon Slaying Saber from the Heaven Sword and Dragon Saber. I trust that some among you have purchased our Kunpeng Phone 2. Are you satisfied with it? Very satisfied. Absolutely delighted. Please release another limited edition. As the launch commenced, Chen Chen expertly ignited a fervent atmosphere with 40,000 units of the Kunpeng Phone 2 limited edition selling out within seconds during 2 online sales. Numerous users left messages on the Red Star official website, expressing hopes for additional production of the limited edition Kunpeng Phone 2. Chen Chen, however, dismissed these requests. After all, limited edition inherently implies scarcity. Producing more units might ensure sales, but those who had already purchased or paid a premium would undoubtedly voice their displeasure. Scarcity was the key. The Red Star Phone 3, as a pivotal product in our Red Star digital series, has undergone extensive design refinements this year. Let us first admire the exterior of the Red Star 3. Prior to introducing the phone, Chen Chen showcased the new design of the Red Star 3's rear cover, featuring a unique texture and polished aluminum alloy frame, which stands out as exceptionally beautiful compared to the prevalent all-plastic mid-range models. The visual representation of the Red Star Phone 3 appeared on a large screen behind Chen Chen, captivating the audience with its innovative design. The latest iteration of the Red Star 3 offers 2 exquisite color options, a pristine white and an elegant black silk. The texture on the back cover glimmers subtly under varying lighting conditions, crafted from the same high molecular nanomaterials, showcasing Chen Chen's penchant for innovation. Our design team experimented with a plethora of textures for the phone's back cover, including stone patterns, marble finishes, and even textures mimicking solid wood and ceramics, exploring an extensive range of designs. Throughout the entire production process, I observed that while some individuals were enamored with the designs, others expressed their discontent. I opined that our goal was to find a back cover that would resonate positively with the majority, one that elicited no aversion, an ideal back cover. One day, they presented a novel technique known as in-mold transfer technology, which produced a stunning grading pattern on the back cover. Upon seeing it, I exclaimed, "This is precisely what I desired." This new technology is remarkably intricate, comprising 9 layers: a plastic layer, an adhesive layer, an impact-resistant layer, a coating layer, an ink layer, a texture layer, an adhesive layer, culminating in a UV spray layer. Each layer is meticulously crafted, resulting in a highly complex process. Our engineers dedicated over 100 days to implement this technology in our smartphones, ultimately unveiling the stylish grading pattern back cover for the public. Judging from the renderings, the back cover design of the Red Star 3 is nothing short of stunning. Is it beautiful? Chen Chen called out to the audience below. Absolutely gorgeous. The audience's enthusiastic response made it evident that they were thoroughly pleased with the phone's aesthetics. In their view, the design of the Red Star 3 eclipsed that of its mid-range competitors. Other manufacturers offered cheap-looking, flat plastic or polycarbonate materials devoid of any aesthetic appeal. Chapter 111. The launch of Red Star 3. The Red Star 3 not only boasts a visually striking design steeped in technological aesthetics, but its hardware specifications are also on par with those of other manufacturers. The front panel features a 5.2-inch full laminated IPS display, protected by second-generation Corning Gorilla Glass, enhancing its durability and scratch resistance. Chen Chen refrained from delving deeply into the specifications of the company's display, as it still follows the tried-and-true formula of the Kunpeng Phone 1, with the sole upgrade being a slight enhancement in color gamut and brightness. The technology and craftsmanship of this display have undergone 2 iterations, reaching near perfection, although it originates from last year's flagship phone. It remains competitive in this year's Red Star 3. We have employed our latest self-developed Lingxiao S3 processor chip, representing our company's 3rd generation of processing technology. Highlighting the phone's features, one must not overlook the processor, as since late June's inaugural launch event, processor performance has become a crucial metric for evaluating smartphone capabilities. Last month, during the Kunpeng Phone 2 launch, I elaborated on the performance specifications of this processor, and today, I will briefly revisit them. Our Lingxiao S3 processor is a quad-core chip, fabricated using TSMC's 28-nanometer process, utilizing the latest HPM technology, which allows for lower power consumption and reduced heat generation. Our Lingxiao architecture employs an asynchronous symmetric multi-processing framework, capable of providing dynamic power perception and control for peak performance across each core. Coupled with our Red Star's performance scheduling, there is no need for energy-efficient cores to effectively manage the phone's power consumption. This technology dynamically adjusts the processor's power in real time. During low-load tasks, the Lingxiao S3 can engage just one core, while in high-load scenarios, it can unleash its full performance to cater to demanding applications such as gaming. In summary, it is an exceptional processor that balances power efficiency and performance. Moreover, to avert the overheating issues seen in certain rival products, we have integrated a state-of-the-art thermal material for heat dissipation, which has increased our heat dissipation area by over 90 compared to competitor models, with thermal performance exceeding theirs by 200, while absolute performance is paramount. Many users prioritize the stability of their devices. Chen Chen is acutely aware that the Lingxiao S3, compared to its predecessor, incorporates TSMC's HPM technology and enhancements to the primary core and ISP clock frequency. In high-load scenarios, the processor cores can reach temperatures exceeding 60 degrees Celsius. And even when this heat is conducted to the phone's frame and display, temperatures hover around 40 degrees. Without a robust cooling system, the Lingxiao S3 would undoubtedly affect user experience. Prolonged exposure to high temperatures could also inflict irreversible damage on the hardware components of the motherboard, exemplified by the infamous incident with the Xiaomi Mi 11 overheating its Wi-Fi module. Were it not for these concerns, Chen Chen would not have introduced thermal technology at this juncture, as the upcoming processors from Gaodong are predominantly of the Fire Dragon series. The Snapdragon 801, followed by the 808, 810, 820, and 821 are all well known for their fiery performance. Should those manufacturers adopt similar cooling strategies as Red Star, it might indeed be feasible to temper these fire dragons. However, given the current situation, Chen Chen felt compelled to unveil this cooling solution. After all, this cooling method, along with several variants, has been patented by Red Star, and the suppliers of these thermal modules have been nurtured by us, so there is no hesitation in utilizing them. The camera of the Red Star 3 has also been elevated to 13 million pixels, featuring a Sony base-level CMOS sensor and a TG 28mm lens from Tianguang Optical Instruments. With an aperture of f2.2, enhanced by our Red Star algorithms, it supports 2x digital zoom, automatic focus, continuous shooting, and 1080p video recording at 60 frames per second. Overall, this camera module demonstrates commendable hardware performance. Unlike the lens module of the Kunpeng Phone 2, which sourced all components from Sony, the Red Star 3 marks the debut of Red Star's proprietary lens, while the sensor remains from Sony. Currently, Tianguang can only produce sensors suitable for budget devices. But having acquired Tianguang, we jointly developed this 28mm wide-angle lens, which, combined with Red Star's camera algorithms and processor IPS calculations, results in a significant improvement in photographic performance compared to the previous generation. Tianguang Optical Instruments? Have you heard of this company? I have a vague recollection. It seems to be a small manufacturer from Shenzhen, though rumors suggest they have been acquired by Red Star. Shun Wei nodded thoughtfully, realizing that his own products, which emphasize a lightweight design and selfie capabilities, could benefit from supporting a domestic lens sensor manufacturer. This would facilitate future adaptations and customizations. Regarding battery specifications, the Red Star 3, like the Kunpeng Phone, utilizes our proprietary Yangtze River battery, boasting a capacity of 4,200 mAh. Charging has been upgraded from last year's 27W fast charging to 33W. Chen Chen confidently presented the Red Star 3's battery and charging capabilities to the audience, a smile gracing his face as he proclaimed, "In terms of charging and battery technology, we are leagues ahead." The audience responded with fervent cheers and applause. Ever since Red Star showcased the Yangtze River battery at last month's launch event, there has been much speculation about whether the Red Star 3 would incorporate this battery, as the costs of new technologies are always a consideration. Some even speculated that the delay in the Red Star 3's release was due to battery-related issues. Now, with Chen Chen dispelling the mystery, it is confirmed that the Red Star 3 indeed utilizes the Yangtze River battery, albeit with a slight reduction in capacity. In terms of charging, Hongxing has certainly not disappointed the consumers eagerly awaiting the release of the Hongxing 3, as they have indeed made upgrades that have alleviated the concerns and doubts of those poised to purchase this product. From the hardware specifications revealed by Chen Chen, it can be confidently asserted that the configuration of the Hongxing 3 is exceptionally commendable within the mid-range smartphone category, and it would not be an exaggeration to deem it the premier device in the sub-1,000 yuan market. As many are aware, our Hongxing Yangtze River battery incurs substantial costs, and coupled with the intricate craftsmanship of our raster pattern back cover, the price may indeed surprise some, possibly reflecting a modest increase. Chapter 112. Hongxing Smart Band. Upon Chen Chen's remarks on stage, the audience, both online and present, momentarily fell silent, yet soon comprehended the rationale. After all, the Hongxing 3 presents a significantly more aesthetically pleasing design compared to its predecessor, the Hongxing 2, along with a globally unique battery and charging mechanism. Thus, a slight price increment is quite understandable. In truth, Chen Chen is beginning to redefine the positioning of the Hongxing series. Previously, due to a limited product line, the only means to boost sales was through the cost-effectiveness of the Hongxing digital series. Now that Kunpeng has firmly established itself in the high-end market, it is time to elevate the pricing of the Hongxing digital series. The plan is to gradually raise the prices of the Hongxing digital series to around 3,000 yuan over the next 2 years, as the rapid growth of the Chinese economy in the coming years will inevitably elevate consumer psychological price range for smartphones, with devices priced between 2,000 and 3,000 yuan expected to dominate future sales while still maintaining a reasonable profit margin. Making this decision was not easy for me. Our Hongxing digital series has always been about fostering friendships with users, until the product manager informed me that, with the configurations I requested, achieving a price of 1,998 yuan would be nearly impossible unless we replaced the Yangtze River battery with a standard lithium battery. I inquired whether costs could be further compressed to meet the 1998 target, but the product manager cautioned that doing so would compromise the quality of the phone. After enduring a prolonged struggle, I had to make this decision, yet I firmly believe that even with a price increase, The Hongxing 3 will remain the most cost-effective smartphone available. The retail price for the 3GB, 64GB version of the Hongxing 3 will be just 2,499 yuan. Moreover, to express our gratitude for everyone's support, we will also offer a version priced at 1,998 yuan. Can we make this our final 1998 offer? Upon announcing the pricing, the venue erupted in cheers. From the consumer's perspective, selling the 364 variant at 2,499 yuan feels akin to maintaining the same price. The audience watching the live stream also expressed satisfaction with this combination of memory and pricing. From specifications to aesthetics, the Hongxing 3 has made considerable strides compared to its predecessor, and a slight price increase is quite justifiable, especially since the 1998 version is still available. For consumers, while the offerings may seem identical from the manufacturer's viewpoint, they are entirely different. A higher starting price allows for gradual increases in pricing, and consumers will, over time, become accustomed to this brand's pricing strategy. Chen Chen pressed the remote control in his hand, causing the large screen to display the prices for the various versions of the Hongxing 3. 364 for $24.99, 464 for $27.99, and 216 for $19.98. The Hongxing 3 will officially launch across all channels on the 5th of next month. Customers can visit offline stores to experience the product firsthand, as our Hongxing home outlets will open in several first-tier cities next month. You can check the Hongxing Mall to see if there is a Hongxing home in your city, and our stores will have certain inventory available. Additionally, our offline partners will also synchronize their sales. For those in need, offline purchasing is an option. With dozens of Hongxing homes opening next month alongside the existing 10 or so stores, Hongxing has taken its first step into the offline market. Hongxing Home? Haha, I've opened a store there. Won't I be able to pick up stock directly? Is Daqing Island not considered a first-tier city? I just checked why there's a store in Quancheng, but not here. Oh, Shanghai has already opened 2 stores. I'll place an order as soon as I get back. There's been a store in my small county for 7 or 8 years, but they're still undergoing renovations. It seems they won't catch the Hongxing 3 launch. Small counties have them. Why doesn't our ancient capital have one? Do they look down on us? Are you foolish? The small county was one of the first to have direct operated stores. There used to be many here, but after Chen Boss left, most closed down. If there is offline inventory, many need to order online and can receive their products more swiftly, avoiding the anxiety of waiting for a delivery notification. Next, I will introduce our new product, the Hongxing Smart Band. During the month of pre-launch excitement, some may have guessed that we were developing a wearable device, and today, I am officially presenting it to you. Our Hongxing Smart Band features an aluminum alloy panel and employs laser microperforation technology, creating a remarkably sleek and elegant appearance. It encompasses the standard functionalities of smart bands, such as tracking daily physical activity and encouraging regular exercise. Additionally, it includes sleep monitoring capabilities that automatically detect sleep states, recording both deep and light sleep durations and compiling them into a summary of total sleep time. An intriguing feature is the smart alarm clock, which gently vibrates if you are in light sleep, allowing you to wake naturally, while during deep sleep, it uses a stronger vibration to rouse you from slumber before gently bringing you to full wakefulness. This alarm method is particularly suited for those who struggle with waking up, like myself. Every morning when my phone alarm blares, I often feel inclined to toss my phone out of frustration. Since I started wearing the Hongxing Smart Band a month ago, I have yet to throw my phone. Haha. Knowing that the immensely wealthy Chen boss also struggles to rise in the morning brings me solace. Chen Chen's words resonated with the young audience. Who among us hasn't felt vexed by alarm clocks? However, there exists a common challenge with smart bands: the difficulty in maintaining consistent usage. Over the past few years, I have tried several models, none of which lasted beyond a month, with some barely making it past a couple of weeks. At times, I questioned whether I lacked willpower. I later realized that few individuals managed to stick with smart bands, prompting me to suspect whether there were fundamental design flaws in these products. Thus, when Minister Zhang Feng proposed creating the Hongxing Smart Band, I set forth my requirements. It must be user-friendly and possess an extended battery life. The previous bands I used typically had a standby of only 5 to 7 days, often leading to forgotten charging sessions. However, our Hongxing Smart Band boasts an extraordinary 30-day standby time. Furthermore, it supports an IP67 water resistance rating, meaning you need not remove it while showering. Of course, a crucial aspect is aesthetics. We have adorned the band with vibrant, skin-friendly materials, enhancing its beauty. We offer 7 distinct colors for the wristbands, allowing you to switch colors every day of the week. Give one away. Give one away. The audience clamored, gazing at the promotional images on the big screen. Chapter 113. Conclusion of the launch event. Feigning a look of helplessness, Chen Chen addressed the audience. Well, while giving away is not entirely off the table. How about this? Upon purchasing our Hongxing smartband, you can select an additional silicone wristband for free. Boss Chen is amazing. Give another one. Well, we have many more wristband materials for you to choose from. Please allow me to finish my presentation first, shall we? In addition, we have meticulously designed wristbands specifically for boys, as well as a discreetly luxurious variant for our female students, which can be wrapped around multiple times. There's also a genuine leather wristband made from Italian-imported calfskin, akin to that of the Kunping Phone 2's exquisite collector's edition, which is undeniably stunning. In my view, if a smart wristband is merely a fitness tracker, it would appeal to only a niche audience. But what if the wristband could interact with our other devices? What if it served as our identity ID, much like in science fiction films, where an identity chip is implanted into the body, allowing devices to recognize you wherever you go? Our first application is unlocking your phone. When we wear the Red Star wristband and unlock our phones, there is no need to input a password. Given that we unlock our phones numerous times daily and enter passwords 4 to 5 dozen times, it becomes quite bothersome. Once you start using the wristband for unlocking, there is truly no going back. There are times when I forget to wear it and must return specifically to retrieve it. It also supports vibration alerts for incoming calls, ensuring that we do not miss calls when our phones are on silent. Furthermore, our wristband is compatible with other devices from Red Star, such as our Eli bedside lamp, allowing you to set automatic sleep mode to turn off the light via the Xingjia app, or configure our Red Star fan to shut down after a set time. These functionalities are both practical and user-friendly. So what is the price of such a wristband? $199, $129, $159. There were various prices shouted from the audience. But one sentiment was universally agreed upon. Everyone believed the wristband would not exceed 200 yuan. Internationally, wristbands are typically priced between 800 and 1,500 yuan, while some domestic brands range from 200 to 500 yuan. I noticed that many people online hoped we would sell it for 199 or even 129. This time, we exerted our utmost effort. Then, on the big screen, 2 red digits appeared. 99. The audience erupted into applause. Oh, 99. Red Star is amazing. Chen Chen basked in the audience's cheers, noting that the Red Star wristband closely resembles the original Xiaomi Mi Band, which was released in 2014, making his Red Star wristband a whole year earlier and naturally a bit more expensive. Some may argue that while the wristband can provide call and message notifications, it lacks a screen. How can one know who is calling or see message content with a mere raise of the wrist? Building upon the Red Star Wristband 1, we also have the Red Star Wristband Pro, which features a custom 0.45-inch OLED display, allowing for effortless viewing of notifications. A gentle touch of the circular button on the wristband enables easy access to steps, time, heart rate, distance, and other information with customizable display options. Due to the inclusion of a screen, it can provide even more notifications. When our phone receives a call, message, or notification from a specified app, it vibrates and displays the content upon a wrist raise. The Red Star Wristband Pro is equipped with a 120 mAh Yangtze River battery, boasting a standby time of up to 40 days and over 3 weeks of regular use. Finally, the price of the Red Star Wristband Pro appeared on the big screen, $299. This price was the result of extensive discussions between Chen Chen and Zhang Feng. The total cost of a Red Star wristband is 84 yuan, allowing for a profit margin when sold at 99 yuan, and cost could decrease with increased sales volume. However, the Wristband Pro's cost is significantly higher, nearing 190 yuan. Thus, Chen Chen chose not to price it close to cost, as the manufacturing and development company, Huaheng, requires profit to fund further technological advancements. Red Star cannot continuously lower prices, as that would not benefit future sustainable growth. After introducing the wristbands, Chen Chen turned to the audience to present the final product of this launch event, a robotic vacuum cleaner from Stone Technology. Speaking of this company, Chen Chen often feels as if he has struck gold. Some of their engineers specialize in visual solutions, and the founder, Li Lei, even harbored the audacious ambition to create a vacuum cleaner equipped with a mechanical arm and purely visual capabilities to handle large debris. Unfortunately, due to immature technology, the prototype has yet to be developed. Nevertheless, Chen Chen wholeheartedly supports such initiatives, believing that future robotic vacuums must evolve towards comprehensive automation and integration. Before his time travel, Stone Technology had already launched a vacuum cleaner that combines visual radar with sweeping and mopping functionalities. As for a vacuum cleaner with a mechanical arm capable of autonomously picking up trash, Chen Chen has yet to encounter one. Our vacuum cleaner features a battery-powered brush head, While Chen Chen presented on stage, the audience appeared somewhat disinterested. To put it bluntly, current robotic vacuums are merely mobile vacuum cleaners. Even if Chen Chen set the price at 2,000 yuan, it would still be significantly lower than those of foreign brands. It supports voice control via Xiaoxing for cleaning designated rooms, as well as remote control via smartphone for targeted cleaning. Additionally, our robotic vacuum is equipped with a rich and entertaining voice package. Ultimately, Chen Chen announced the robotic vacuum's price, $20.99, with a limited-time discount of just $19.99. He expressed heartfelt gratitude to all fans and media friends for attending the Red Star launch event. As per tradition, the next segment involves distributing souvenir gifts. This time, Red Star has prepared wristbands as gifts for everyone. Please collect them at the exit with your ticket code. Thank you all. This launch event concludes here. Chapter 114, a flavorful chapter. I initially expected the final product to be something entertaining, but it turned out to be a robotic vacuum cleaner, which I already have at home and find quite cumbersome. The one I had before was used frequently, but it was only after my dog made a mess on the floor that the vacuum cleaner activated. Speaking of messes, I recall a guy from the north whose home had underfloor heating in winter. After his dog's mess was smeared and heated, it became quite a scene. Wait, you're not suggesting the guy is you, are you? Oh no, don't tell me. I can already picture it. Have you ever seen a dog sitting on a robotic vacuum while it cleans and simultaneously has an accident? Enough already. If you have pets, don't even think about buying one of these. Or you might come home one day to find your house transformed into an avant-garde art exhibit of pet messes. However, the wristband is indeed impressive. I've broken several alarm clocks at home, and I wonder if this wristband can actually wake me up. Haha, too bad Xiaomi ISNT here. I would have loved to see Lei's expression when Chen Chen claimed the Red Star 3's heat dissipation improved by 200 compared to competitors. Don't say that. Lei might be curled up in bed right now, weeping over his hundreds of thousands of Mi 3 units. After the launch event concluded, Chen Chen, resting in the back seat of a Maybach, suddenly became animated. The initial version of the stone robot has successfully launched in this dimension, rewarding the mechanical arm technology. The initial version of the Star Ring has also successfully launched, rewarding the Star Ring interconnect technology. Would you like to claim these rewards? Not yet, Xiao AI. You're already a mature AI. Can't you see I'm the car? Very well, Master. The mechanical arm functionality is easy to understand. But what on earth is this Star Ring interconnect? Why have I never heard of it before? Moreover, it appears that Xiao AI's recent performances have been rather unusual. There have been no direct task releases. Instead, rewards seem to follow only after she has unveiled certain products. Notably, each instance has mentioned that the initial versions of specific products from this dimension have been launched. Could it be inferred that these products have undergone countless iterations, evolving until the era in which Xiao AI exists? It is even possible that their forms have transformed significantly. Take, for instance, the sweeping robot. Xiao AI refers to it as the stone robot. Yet in reality, stone is merely the name bestowed upon this sweeping robot by its founder. Its full name is the stone sweeping robot, not simply the stone robot. This suggests that the ultimate form of this sweeping robot in the future could indeed be a genuine robot in every sense of the word. Furthermore, regarding the Red Star wristband, Xiao AI describes it as the initial version of the Star Ring. It remains unclear what functionalities the future Star Ring N0 will possess. Zhao, do not head to the company. Please take me home first. I have some matters to attend to. Chen Chen instructed the driver, Zhao Yunlei. Understood, boss, Zhao replied. Upon returning home, Chen Chen eagerly transferred all the data onto his hard drive, though many of the parameters and figures were beyond his comprehension. Nevertheless, after hours of study, he grasped the essence of what was termed the mechanical hand, an invention that Li Lei, the founder of stone technology, was researching, capable of autonomously picking up debris from the ground. However, this alone would not suffice. More robust three-dimensional modeling and radar or visual solutions would be necessary to realize Li Lei's vision. The data indicated that much of the robotic technology had emerged around 2026, a time to which he regrettably did not live in his past life. Otherwise, he would certainly have procured a sweeping robot equipped with a mechanical hand. As for the Star Ring interconnect technology, that too was introduced in 2028. At that time, the Red Star wristband could project the operational interface directly onto the wrist without the need for a screen, enabling users to manipulate their phones directly through the wrist projection without unlocking them. This technology had yet to reach the level depicted in films, where one could view it with the naked eye. It still required a medium, such as skin. The challenge did not lie in the projection itself. The technology had existed on smartphones for over 200 years, but rather in how to operate the projected display as seamlessly as one would a regular smartphone. Additionally, Achieving prolonged battery life within the compact confines of the wristband was another significant hurdle. Xiao AI's offering of the Star Ring's interconnect technology held little practical value for the current wristband technology. Its true potential lay in screen interconnectivity, much like the multi-screen collaboration by Huawei and Xiaomi in later years, which allowed users to project smartphone content onto tablets, televisions, and computers. Indeed, it would also encompass future vehicle systems. The technology Xiao AI presented was far more advanced than any screen mirroring or multi-screen interaction Chen Chen had previously encountered, boasting minimal latency and the ability to operate while locked. The Red Star television was already available, the tablet was in design, leaving only the computer. Computers posed no significant challenge. All components were readily available, requiring merely assembly, with even the molds being standardized. Plans could commence, anticipating that future smartphone sales would propel computer sales. Chen Chen contemplated this, resolving to initiate the computer business upon returning to the company. The Star Ring interconnect technology had its merits, but he struggled to envision a practical application for the mechanical hand. Would it be utilized in the sweeping robot? Should Li Lei and his team investigate it further? And what of industrial robots? Would this mechanical hand technology find relevance there? For now, he decided to explore it. Who knows, perhaps one day it could be adapted for human use. As the saying goes, flesh is weak, but machines soar. And one could never tell when Xiao AI might unveil a brain-machine interface. Having organized the data, Chen Chen began to review his company's product line. Currently, the budget-friendly model, the shining second generation, stood as the best-selling model for Red Star, with projections of over 20 million units by year-end, firmly securing its position as the top seller in the budget category. The development of the new Shining 3 model was complete, featuring a larger screen, enhanced specifications, and a price range from $799 to $999, depending on memory configurations. The 1,000 yuan segment was dominated by the Shining Note, reigning supreme in the 1,000 to 1,500 price range. As for the price increase of the Red Star digital series, the gap will be filled by the upcoming Shining K series to be launched next year, previously amended to include the 1998 version. The Red Star digital series would see a price elevation to between 2,500 and 3,000, followed by the Kunpeng series, which would occupy the coveted 3,000 to 4,000 yuan range among domestic brands. Additionally, Chen Chen decided to position the soon-to-be-released full-screen series at a price exceeding 6,000 yuan. This year's Red Star 3 had already been crafted to be sufficiently lightweight and stylish, with commendable photographic capabilities, yet lacked a compelling appeal to the female market. Therefore, it was imperative to develop another smartphone targeting female consumers, emphasizing elegance, slimness, and selfie capabilities, priced between 2,000 and 3,000 yuan. Of course, as time progressed and consumer purchasing power increased, these price points would undoubtedly continue to rise. While Chen Chen was busy refining his product line, a piece of news suddenly sent shockwaves throughout the mobile and technology industries. Chapter 115, The Fall of the Titan. The legendary mobile manufacturer Nokia announced its intention to sell its mobile business to Microsoft. As he read the news on his phone, Chen Chen felt a wave of nostalgia. The fierce competition in the market was indeed ruthless. This company, which launched its first mobile phone in 1982, had become a cherished memory for an entire generation. Now faced with the grim reality of poor management and sluggish transformation, forcing it to bundle its mobile business for sale to Microsoft. Remarkably, the company's final mobile offering could astonish the world. Last year, Nokia unveiled its last Symbian system phone, the Nokia 808 PureView, which boasted a 41-megapixel sensor, a Carl Zeiss lens, and pixel oversampling technology co-developed with Carl Zeiss. This pinnacle of imaging technology could hold its ground even in 2022, a decade later, at a time when the industry was still predominantly featuring 13-megapixel sensors. This exceptionally large sensor represented a significant leap in capability. Logically, Nokia could have leveraged the imaging prowess of this phone to spearhead a revolution in mobile photography. However, the constraints of a closed system and a high price tag thwarted the anticipated imaging revolution, leaving Nokia increasingly ensnared until the announcement of its mobile business sale to Microsoft. Could one assert that Nokia lacked innovation? Clearly, such a claim would be unfounded. Otherwise, it would not have sustained its position as the market leader for 15 consecutive years. As early as 2000, Nokia had developed a full touchscreen phone with a single button, while the fruit company would not unveil a similar product until 7 years later. Moreover, Nokia had placed considerable emphasis on early technological research and development, with investments reaching 5 times that of the fruit company, boasting a formidable team of researchers and 12 global branches, including one in the capital. Yet, When the tide of Android became irresistible, Nokia wavered, clinging to the aging Symbian system, believing that increased investment in it would salvage this ailing platform. Subsequently, enticed by the prospects of Microsoft's Windows Phone system, they pivoted to support it. Ultimately, they found themselves unable to rely solely on Microsoft and began developing the MeeGo system independently. This indecisive and vacillating approach led to a convoluted product line, compounded by the arrogance of management, causing Nokia to miss the waves of Android and the smartphone revolution entirely. In truth, there exists a phrase that encapsulates Nokia's stagnation: technology fundamentally based on mere rebranding. This was one of the earliest descriptors of Nokia. In summary, while Nokia's technological prowess is undeniably high, they have consistently remained mere talkers, reluctant to decentralize and commercialize their innovations, resulting in declining sales year after year, ultimately leading to the divestment of their mobile phone division. This drastic measure bears a resemblance to a certain company from the United States, known as Qualcomm. Originally, Qualcomm also ventured into mobile phones, but in pursuit of focusing on the development of communication technologies, they too chose to divest their mobile business, concentrating instead on semiconductor design and communication technology research. Chen Chen, having experienced the 5G era, is acutely aware that after Nokia relinquished its mobile division, it dedicated itself to communication technologies, even acquiring Alcatel-Lucent in 2015 for $16.6 billion, capturing over 10% of the patent share in the 5G era. Nevertheless, Nokia's exit from the mobile phone business signifies the formal departure of a once mighty mobile phone titan from the stage. The old deity has fallen, while the new ruler, Apple, has firmly grasped the baton of dominance in the mobile industry, with Samsung still lingering as a perennial runner-up, ever ready to challenge Apple's supremacy. Oh dear, it's all about us. Chen Chen's mind involuntarily echoed the words of Emperor Qin Shi Huang. Since our Red Star exists in this world, the future ruler of mobile phones can only be Red Star. I shall make Red Star shine across the globe. However, despite Nokia's downfall, their sensors remain commendable, and their collaboration with Zeiss for lens calibration is well known. Thus, Chen Chen attaches great importance to this matter, contemplating whether he can unearth opportunities in the technological legacy of this fallen giant. Everyone recognizes Zeiss's caliber. Even Nokia's 808 model retains a semblance of competitiveness a decade later. If Red Star could secure Zeiss's support, coupled with its unique ISP algorithms, would it not lead Red Star to spearhead a revolution in mobile photography? According to the standard timeline, Nokia's mobile business is expected to complete its transfer by next April, allowing Red Star to seek collaboration with Zeiss in 6 months. Dervaí taning superior imaging capabilities. In this current year, major manufacturers still predominantly advertise their mobile phones based on pixel count. Yet post-2016, they will significantly upgrade their camera sensors, transitioning from the original 13-megapixel sensors to 12-megapixel sensors, and eventually to the 1-inch super-large sensors. The pixel counts will also witness a frenzied escalation, rising from 16 million to 48 million, then to 64 million, reaching 100 million, and perhaps even 200 million in the future. Understanding this, Chen Chen is keen to invest early in photography and algorithms, knowing that advancement cannot stem from insular efforts. It necessitates learning from manufacturers with genuine technological prowess. Meanwhile, Guanliang has finally resolved to call the customer service hotline at 5678 to return his Xiaomi Mi 3. Faced with the superior specifications, enhanced aesthetics, faster charging, and larger battery of the Red Star 3, he has chosen a defect, primarily due to the emotional turmoil inflicted by the recent chipset debacle with Xiaomi. He had boasted online that the two chips were essentially one and the same, only to be left with a resounding slap to the face. Old Guan, I told you to return it long ago, but you wouldn't listen. You had to wait until the Red Star 3 was launched before you decided to return it. Feng Fu, who was on the upper bunk, interjected as he overheard Guan Liang's call for a refund. It's done. It's done. From now on, Xiaomi is blacklisted for life. Tomorrow, with no classes, let us visit the Red Star home together. I checked the map. It's not far from our school, just a few subway stops away. All right. I'll also check out the Red Star 3 and Kunpeng phones. I'll switch from my Homey 1 to the Red Star 3 once my part-time wages come in. Feng Fu now regarded his Homey 1 with increasing disdain, lamenting that he should have just mustered the resolve to purchase a Red Star 2. Chapter 116. Record-breaking sales figures with a twist. The following morning, the two without classes, along with another roommate, took the subway to the Red Star home. Upon arrival, they were taken aback by the bustling scene outside. High prices paid for the number 9,999 Kunpeng Mobile 2 Collector's Edition. Buying Kunpeng Mobile 2 Collector's Editions. No limits on numbers. Contact if you have one. High prices offered for the Kunpeng Mobile 2 Supreme Collector's Edition. No limits on numbers. Price negotiable. Must be unopened. Several scalpers outside the store waved signs, and upon seeing a staff member in a red hoodie emerge, they retreated a few steps from the entrance. Wow. Is the Kunpeng Mobile 2 Supreme Collector's Edition really that valuable? Guan Liang remarked incredulously at the sight of the scalpers. Had I known it was worth this much, I would have rushed to get one. Didn't T-Red Star say the Supreme Collector's Editions were sold out? How come there are still some in the store? An enthusiastic Red Star fan passing by informed them they sold 40,000 units online. This new store is having an event, and they still have the Kunpeng 2 Supreme Collector's Editions available. But don't get your hopes up. Those scalpers have been queuing since dawn. He gestured towards the scalpers, not far away. Feng Fu observed the throngs of people inside and outside the store, and turned to Guan Liang. Are we still going in? I feel like we want to be able to squeeze through. We've come all this way. With this sentiment, they ventured toward the crowd. After much effort, they finally squeezed into the spacious store, where 5 phone display stands were surrounded by users eagerly experiencing the Kunpeng and Red Star 3 phones. Nearby, shelves displayed a variety of other Red Star merchandise, including headphones, power banks, and small speakers. Dozens of staff members were constantly attending to various customer inquiries, while a long queue formed at the cash register. Hello, how do we purchase the Red Star 3 in-store? Feng Fu quickly inquired as he approached a staff member. Hello. Sir, we offer full pre-sale for the Red Star 3. You can submit your order and payment at the cash register and pick it up tomorrow, or purchase it directly the day after. Oh, thank you. You're welcome, the staff member replied before hastily attending to another customer. Let us go check out the actual device at the display stand. Chen Chen mentioned that the feel of the back cover and the entire device is superb. Let us see for ourselves. Observing the 2 concentric circles of people surrounding the display stand, Guan Liang said, You go ahead. I'll queue at the cash register. After a brief wait, it was Feng Fu's turn to experience the Red Star 3. He eagerly picked up the white Red Star 3, first examining the screen, noting that it was quite similar to the Xiaomi Mi 3, which Guan Liang had returned. He then opened the camera app to test it, finding the imaging quality to be comparable to the Xiaomi Mi 3. Throughout the experience, his fingers caressed the raster pattern back cover that Chen Chen had elaborated on during the launch event, ultimately concluding, this is truly exhilarating. Reluctantly setting down the display device, Feng Fu pulled out his Home Mi 1, growing increasingly dissatisfied with it. After waiting outside for quite some time, Guan Liang and another roommate finally emerged from the store, the latter carrying a red paper bag. There are indeed a lot of people. Had a woman shown up, she might have gotten pregnant from the crowd. Come on. Stop with the nonsense, old Wang. What did you buy? Oh, I thought the wired earphones looked good, so I got one. Wang Zhuo revealed the earphones to his roommates, adding, the store had a full range of products. I even saw custom Red Star shirts hanging on the wall and couldn't resist getting these earphones. They cost $29. I tried them out. The sound quality is excellent. What a pity that I can't pick up my phone until tomorrow. I'll have to come back to queue again, Guan Liang remarked. Purchasing online is indeed swifter, but by the way, what color did you choose? White, naturally. I perused the official website of Hongxing, and the white variant appears exceptionally stunning. Feng Fu gave him a thumbs up, exclaiming, what a lad. Your taste mirrors mine. Just a moment ago, I handled the actual device, and the sensation is truly exhilarating, akin to caressing the delicate skin of a maiden. Upon uttering this, Feng Fu feigned a look of rapture. Have you ever touched it yourself, likening it to a maiden's skin? Come to my bed tonight, and I shall reveal whether I have or have not. Guan Liang and Wang Zhuo shivered and quickened their pace. Such scenes unfolded repeatedly across the numerous stores that were among the first to open nationwide, leaving all employees with a singular sentiment at the end of their shifts, sheer exhaustion. News of these Hongxing stores being overwhelmed circulated online, as if people had never witnessed so many patrons in a mobile phone store. On the 30th, as the clock approached 10 in the morning, countless customers had already congregated at the Hongxing Mall, eagerly awaiting the commencement of sales. When the clock struck 10, users, whether on computers or mobile devices, frantically clicked to purchase, even though Hongxing did not implement a rush buying system. After all, it was the initial sale. Who could say if it might sell out instantly? At the stroke of 10, within just 5 minutes, sales figures soared beyond 300,000 units, and astonishingly reached 590,000 units within 10 minutes. The publicity department of Hongxing released the entire sales data half an hour after the launch, proclaiming a record-breaking achievement. Over 1 million sold in 30 minutes. Upon seeing the announcement from Hongxing, numerous manufacturers collectively gasped in astonishment. Goodness, is it truly that formidable? Meanwhile, Lei Jun, observing the figures released by Hongxing, felt his heart bleed. From this sales surge, at least 200,000 units were contributed by Xiaomi users. Zhao Ming from Huawei became even more resolute in his intention to seek out General Ren for the Kirin processors. Previously, when he approached Yu Chengbei, he was met with a swift rejection. Following that, he broached the subject with him 2 more times, but Yu Chengbei remained adamant. You enjoy the latest Kirin chip, but how am I to manage with my P series? Now, looking at Hongxing, which utilized the advanced Longshao processor for its high-end Kunpeng phone. While Hongxing 3 also employed the Longshao 3 processor, it was evident that this did not significantly hinder the sales of the Kunpeng phone. You, clinging to the new processors as if they were a lifeline. If you want to allow me to use them, I shall directly approach General Ren. Didn't they say no rush buying for the initial sale? Why is it that when I attempt to purchase, it shows it's sold out? Surely, the folks upstairs didn't forget to set their alarms? While the initial sale of Hongxing did not require a rush, it was indeed time-limited. Much like the Kunpeng phone 2, which had no purchase limits during the first half hour of its sale. You ought to check offline. I received mine this morning, and am currently reviewing the pure, white 464 version of Hongxing 3 for you. Is it that quick? I'm still queuing. It feels as if this line stretches from the Magic City to the Imperial Capital. Over an hour has passed, and it's still not my turn. On November 2nd, at 10 a.m., the second round of sales for Hongxing 3 will commence. In response to online complaints, Hongxing also announced via Weibo that the second sales round would begin 3 days later. Chapter 117. Yangtze River batteries become highly coveted. Mr. Chen, as of last night at 8 p.m., we have sold a total of 870,000 units of the Hongxing 3, both online and offline, with less than 180,000 units of the 216 version. Early the following morning, Shenro reported the consolidated sales data from the previous day to Chen Chen. Our Hongxing wristbands achieved online sales of 130,000 units, while the offline figures are yet to be compiled. The Pro version accounted for 20, with nearly 30,000 units sold. The only underperformer was the sweeping robot, which managed only a little over 7,000 units in initial sales. After closing the folder, Chen Chen remarked as expected, achieving 7,000 units on the first day is commendable. However, he had anticipated the wristbands to be far more popular, estimating initial sales to be around 200,000 to 300,000 units, but they only reached a few 100,000. Nonetheless, this was understandable. It was still 2013, and major industry leaders would not launch their wristbands until the end of the year or the following year. Hongxing was still a pioneer in this field, requiring market maturation. Chen Chen remained fairly optimistic about overall sales. While he did not foresee sales reaching tens of millions, selling several 100,000 units within a year was certainly achievable. Mr. Chen, both Fruit Company and Dajiang Company sent visit requests this morning, wishing to discuss collaboration. Another request from Fruit Company? The last time, the vice president of Fruit Huaxia visited Hongxing, aiming to integrate Hongxing into their supply chain, yet negotiations fell through. Moreover, Mitchell came as a private individual and could not represent the company, thus lacking the authority to make decisions. This time, with Fruit Company directly involved, we must consider our response carefully. Chen Chen had long been conflicted about joining the fruit supply chain. The advantage of Yangtze River Energy becoming a supplier for fruit was an unending stream of orders, while the company was not currently facing order shortages. An influx of additional orders would be beneficial for growth. Furthermore, utilizing Fruit's capital to expand the company could spur rapid development for Yangtze River Energy, allowing for substantial profits through their orders, which were counted in the hundreds of millions. However, Chen Chen also pondered that the Yangtze River battery represented a cutting-edge technology for Hongxing, and supplying it to Fruit could undermine the competitive edge of the Kunpeng phone in the high-end market, depriving it of a significant selling point. Thus, Chen Chen found himself in a quandary, leading to several internal meetings that yielded no resolution. He inquired with the battery research department to ascertain whether Yangtze River batteries could achieve maximum theoretical energy density within the next 2 years. If attainable, joining the fruit supply chain would be viable, allowing for technological updates in 2 years, thus introducing batteries with superior energy density to the current Yangtze River batteries, alleviating concerns about fruit's usage. The responsible individual informed Chen Chen that the current Yangtze River battery still fell short of theoretical values and would require time to reach those targets. Reply to Fruit, and let them wait until the end of next month. Chen Chen resolved to delay the decision, intending to engage in further discussions internally during this period. What about General Zheng from Dajiang? Chen Chen had only met Zhang Jiang once, during the signing of the investment agreement with Dajiang. Last year, Hongxing invested 30 million, over 200 million renminbi, acquiring a 24% stake, which was a considerable premium for a startup. Chen Chen was unfazed. No one understood better than him the immense potential of Dajiang's future. Given the opportunity to acquire stock, he sought to secure the maximum shareholding. Dajiang accepted Hongxing's investment primarily because of the generous offer and the stipulation that Hongxing would not engage in Dajiang's management. These two factors convinced Zhang Jiang to accept Hongxing's investment. Besides Zhang Jiang, who held 57 of the shares, a few co-founders possessed 18, along with some state-owned shares, making Hongxing the largest shareholder after Zhang Jiang. As for the historically renowned Two Horses and Sequoia Capital, they had no chance of entering this future unicorn company since Dajiang had not initiated a second round of financing. Even if Dajiang sought to raise funds again, Hongxing held preferential rights for follow-up investments. Ask Zhang Jiang if he is available the day after tomorrow. Understood, Mr. Chen. Zhang Jiang's visit was likely motivated by the Yangtze River battery, as drones require batteries with higher energy density for extended endurance. Although the longevity of polymer batteries on the market has improved, their energy density remains mediocre. In contrast, the Yangtze River battery excels with high energy density and lightweight characteristics, making it the optimal choice for Dajiang's drone batteries. Regarding the high-voltage batteries and cobalt batteries that Dajiang intends to utilize in the future, their current prices remain quite elevated. For Chen Chen of Dajiang, there is no reluctance in supplying them with battery cells, as they are all enterprises from Huaxia and, moreover, are companies he has invested in. There exists no rationale for refusal. Furthermore, Dajiang currently does not require a substantial quantity of batteries. A slight increase in production capacity would suffice for their needs. Huawei is keen on procuring the Yangtze River batteries from Hongxing, and Lei Jun from Dami has also expressed interest in purchasing Yangtze River batteries via phone. Coupled with the interest from the fruit company, and now Dajiang, it appears that there will indeed be a necessity to expand Yangtze River energy in the coming 1 to 2 years. Once the second generation of Yangtze River batteries from Hongxing is developed, they could be supplied to these manufacturers, paving the way for substantial profits and laying the groundwork for future electric vehicles. As for Sansang, that shall be dismissed. Supplying them with batteries would disrupt the course of history. If possible, Chen Chen would prefer to avoid any conflict with Sansang at this moment. Supplying them with batteries would imply the eradication of the historically significant Note 7 explosion incident, which Chen Chen had intended to leverage when the incident occurred. As for the next strategic goal of Hongxing, it lies in both the offline and international markets. Currently, Hongxing essentially operates as an online mobile phone company, with the majority of its sales occurring through online channels. Transitioning a company primarily based on an online model to a genuine offline presence necessitates not only sufficient financial resources, but also a considerable time investment for strategic planning. It is now 2013, and while it may not be too late to establish an offline market presence, Hongxing is not lacking in funds and possesses ample time. Chen Chen estimates that a 2-year period for this endeavor could yield a significant market share offline. Conversely, he feels a sense of reluctance towards attending the Hongxing press conference scheduled for December in Munich, Europe. The entire event is to be overseen by Liu Weiqi. Yet, as the chairman of the company, how could he possibly be absent from such a milestone occasion? Chen Chen's concerns are not merely commercial. There are other underlying reasons. It is known that certain nations have precedents in this regard, often resorting to extreme measures. Each year, there are countless scientists, researchers, and even professors who perish under mysterious circumstances. While the situation is somewhat better domestically, once abroad, one must be cautious. Life is a singular thread, not only for himself, but also for the now esteemed professors, Dr. Liu, Dr. Zhou, and the experts in the Hongxing laboratory. Chen Chen is reluctant to allow them to travel abroad, even if Hongxing currently possesses no technology that might attract the attention of any nation. Thus, Chen Chen harbors no desire to venture overseas, fearing that he might once again cross paths with peril. On November 2nd, Zhang Jiang arrived at Hongxing Company as scheduled. After exchanging pleasantries in the reception room, Zhang Jiang directly addressed the matter at hand. Mr. Chen, I have come with a request for your assistance. After taking a sip of tea and setting down his cup, Chen Chen responded, Mr. Zhang, please speak plainly. There is no need for formalities. It is this, Mr. Chen. I wish to procure a batch of Yangtze River batteries for our Dajiang Spirit drones, and I hope to establish a long-term cooperative relationship with Yangtze River New Energy Company. How many do you require? Chen Chen inquired. For the first batch, I'm looking to procure 90,000 battery cells. Chen Chen calculated that the Dajiang Spirit utilizes 3S batteries. Thus, 90,000 cells would equate to 30,000 battery units. It appears that Zheng Jiang is rather conservative. Mr. Zheng, while that is feasible, 90,000 cells are rather insufficient. Your battery compartment does not align with our current cell dimensions. I cannot modify our production line or establish a new one for just 90,000 cells. Therefore, you must either adjust the battery compartment of the Spirit based on our cell dimensions to introduce a long-range version or increase the order quantity. Zheng Jiang found himself momentarily at a loss for words. At this stage, Dajiang is still a small company, lacking the capacity to place orders in the hundreds of thousands. Mr. Zheng, how many units of the Dajiang Spirit One, including the recently released Chauncey, are you currently selling? Chen Chen asked, gazing at Zheng Jiang. Approximately 300 to 500 units per month, Zheng Jiang replied with a wry smile. He had previously been involved in helicopter flight control, transitioning to quadcopters. While market acceptance is decent, this niche remains relatively small, and the entire aerial photography market is not as expansive as anticipated. I have an idea. Let us feature your Dajiang drones on our Hongqing Mall, similar to other products from our ecological chain companies. Leveraging Hongqing's traffic entrance. You are aware that our SKU count has exceeded 50. Adding your Dajiang drone series could bring substantial traffic your way. After reflecting on Chen Chen's proposition, Zheng Jiang felt compelled. Moreover, our offline stores can provide you with a display platform. Our Hongqing stores are located in first-tier cities, where the populace is more receptive to such emerging technologies and possesses greater purchasing power. What do you think? Chen Chen concluded, observing Zheng Jiang with anticipation, confident that he would not decline the offer. What is the cost? Zheng Jiang inquired, recognizing that there are no free lunches in this world. If Mr. Chen is willing to allow Dajiang to benefit from the Hongqing brand, it undoubtedly comes at a price. I will need to increase my investment, valuing your current market capitalization at a 12-fold premium. The agreement remains unchanged. I will not involve myself in your management or development. Hongqing must secure at least 40 of your shares. Mr. Chen, that is excessive, especially since I currently have no financing plans. Not at all. Consider our acquisition of that sweeping robot company. On the first day of being listed on Hongqing Mall, it sold over 7,000 units, and in less than a week, more than 30,000 units have flown off the shelves, nearly equivalent to your annual production. Zheng Jiang's breath quickened. Dajiang is also a company that emphasizes research and development, particularly in flight control, yet superior algorithms necessitate a wealth of user data. If they could leverage the Hongqing brand, they could achieve sales figures in the hundreds of thousands annually, something Zheng Jiang had never dared to dream. I offer a fair price, still a premium. Furthermore, once you review the design blueprint from one of our employees, you will understand why I wish to increase my investment in you. Chen Chen retrieved his phone, pulling up an image from his album to show Zheng Jiang. We have enthusiasts for aerial models in our company who have purchased the Dajiang Spirit series, yet they find it somewhat cumbersome. Thus, they created this design blueprint, indicating our interest in venturing into the drone sector as well. We often encourage our engineers to pursue innovative projects, and considering that I have already invested in you, launching a drone company would divert some of my focus. Hence, I propose increasing my investment in you. After all, we are essentially family. Is it not only right to take care of one's own? In truth, this blueprint was inspired by the future Dajiang foldable miniseries. When Shun Ro expressed her desire to join Hongqing, Chen Chen began contemplating further investment in Dajiang. Mr. Chen, this foldable drone design is extraordinary. Mr. Zheng, what are your thoughts? At this moment, Zheng Jiang could no longer underestimate this young man in his 20s, perceiving him as a cunning wolf, enticing him with various temptations. I personally agree with Mr. Chen's proposal, yet I must consult with Wang Tao and the others upon my return. Understood. After all, should Hongqing increase its investment, it would either require shared dilution of shares among all parties or individual transfers. However, it seems unlikely that the founders would choose to relinquish their holdings at this stage. Ultimately, it would simply entail additional expenditure, a trivial matter. Let us proceed thus. Once you have conferred and reached a consensus, please directly contact Minister Zhang Feng from our ecological chain. He will facilitate the inclusion of your esteemed company, Dajiang, into the management of our Hongqing ecological chain products. In the future, there will be dedicated personnel to liaise with you regarding listings in the Hongqing Mall. Kindly provide me with a prompt response so that the transformation of the Yangtze River battery production line can be expedited. After bidding farewell to Zheng Jiang, Chen Chen could not help but reflect inwardly. Dajiang military industry, I have arrived. Chapter 119. The screen proves quite challenging. On the way back, Zheng Jiang pondered Chen Chen's proposal. Not limited to just smartphones. Any device powered by electricity faces the constraints of battery life. He had already calculated the endurance of the Dajiang Spirit utilizing the Yangtze River battery, estimating a potential enhancement of approximately 30, with a maximum duration exceeding 22 minutes. Furthermore, the discharge rate of the Yangtze River battery is astonishingly high, reaching a formidable 35C, thereby providing unmanned aerial vehicles with more robust power and extended cruising times. The longer a flying camera can linger in the air, the greater the likelihood that users will capture satisfactory photos and videos. Moreover, the foldable drone particularly captivated Zheng Jiang. The sluggish market penetration of consumer-grade drones has largely been due to size constraints. The more compact dimensions of the Yangtze River battery afford greater design flexibility for other components within the drone. By developing a compact, foldable drone that users can even fit into their pockets, a significant advancement in market maturity could be achieved. The more Zheng Jiang contemplated this, the more exhilarated he became. Swiftly traveling to Shenzhen to engage in discussions with several founders about joining the Hongxing system. From last year to the present, Hongxing has invested in dozens of companies, with notable investments in Dajiang, Pinduoduo, and ByteDance. Dajiang has stated succinctly that there are only 2 brands of drones available in the market, Dajiang and others. Chen Chen anticipates that Zheng Jiang will undoubtedly consent to a 40 equity stake in Hongxing. The early debut of Pinduoduo in this dimension saw Chen Chen decisively invest when Guan Yushi sought to introduce Hongxing to the platform, subsequently increasing his investment to a total of approximately 70 million, securing a 16 stake. As for ByteDance, Chen Chen invested 10 million during the angel round, followed by an additional 2 million in the A round. Aside from these substantial investments, most others were smaller-scale investments and acquisitions, each amounting to no more than a few $1,000,000. This investment and incubation within the ecological chain have already yielded visible results this year. Presently, the revenue from IoT operations constitutes 23% of Hongxing's total revenue, a considerable increase from less than 1% last year, nearly tripling. It is not that Hongxing has no desire to venture into the semiconductor industry chain. Rather, the financial capacity to do so is lacking. Whether in the sphere of silicon wafer production or lithography, the entirety of Hongxing's annual revenue would merely create a ripple in the industry, let alone generate any tangible output. With investments often reaching hundreds of billions, the thought of merely entering the fray based solely on financial resources sends shivers down Chen Chen's spine. The cost of a single production line can soar into the hundreds of millions, and establishing a factory demands the highest standards of cleanliness, especially when considering the daunting series of challenges ahead. As for the screen industry, Hongxing has no intentions of entering. The collaboration with Huaxing has been exceedingly fruitful, and Samsung exited Huaxing last year. Currently, the company's equity composition consists of TCL, Shenzhen state-owned assets, and Hongxing. Previously, Xiao AI provided the technology and processes for flexible OLED screens, but much time has elapsed since then, and the joint laboratory has yielded no information whatsoever. From mastering the technology to trial production and eventual mass production, it is unlikely to be feasible in less than 2 years. However, once that screen enters mass production, Chen Chen firmly believes it will have a monumental impact on the entire OLED screen market in China. He inquired with Lao Li, who indicated that the screens provided by the system are quite similar to the diamond arrangement that Samsung applied for this year. Chen Chen blurted out, "Isn't that a pseudo-diamond arrangement?" This represents the technological advancements of 2023 as domestic manufacturers seek alternatives to Samsung's diamond arrangement. In 2008, when Samsung first applied AMOLED screens in phones, they utilized the RGB pen tile arrangement. Due to the self-emissive nature of OLEDs, the lifespan of the 3 subpixels in LCD standards, each pixel corresponds to 3 subpixels, varies, with blue pixels having the shortest lifespan. In a standard RGB arrangement, screen burn-in becomes more prevalent. Thus, Samsung opted for the RGB pen tile arrangement to balance the lifespan of the 3 pixels. This arrangement allows different subpixel points to share a subpixel when displaying a complete pixel, thus rendering a full RGB color through color borrowing. This method achieves commendable display quality with lower subpixel rendering, though the actual number of subpixels is reduced by 13, resulting in diminished clarity. In 2011, Samsung attempted the standard RGB arrangement on the Galaxy S2, which offered finer resolution but was ultimately abandoned due to lifespan concerns. This year, the Galaxy S4 debuted with a superior diamond arrangement, promising longevity. Chen Chen had contemplated applying for a patent for the diamond arrangement, only to discover it had already been claimed, with Samsung acquiring authorization from a certain American company. He then considered acquiring this American enterprise for its diamond arrangement patent, but was preempted by Sansang's substantial financial resources, leading to the acquisition of the company. Thus, in the future, Sansang's diamond arrangement screens will essentially be self-licensed, as the patent-holding company will belong to Sansang. The next flagship model from Hongxing will undoubtedly rely on AMOLED screens, as only such screens can accommodate a different packaging method, allowing for a more compact chin on the phone. If the current LCD screen SCOG packaging technology is employed, the chin would resemble the dimensions of a rice mix from the previous era, approaching 7 or 8 millimeters. Therefore, Chen Chen resolved to send Dr. Zhou to South Korea to explore the possibility of procuring a batch of Sansang S OLED screens for next year's full-screen mobile phones. While Huaxing possesses the technology and processes, they are currently unable to produce any units, even if production lines were established now. It would take 1 to 2 years before they could commence operations. If only one could operate like the protagonists in other tales, where the system provides factories, permitting production to commence the very next day upon issuing a command. At the very least, one would expect that if the protagonist presented the technology, production enterprises could grasp it by the following day and begin manufacturing shortly thereafter. On this planet, Blue Star, where countless traversers abound, I find myself among the more beleaguered of them. The semiconductor industry is devoid of both funds and technology. The screen industry possesses technology, yet cannot produce. And the only leading edge pertains to batteries, which are far from being revolutionary products boasting capacities in the tens of thousands of mAh. It is indeed a challenging endeavor. Chapter 120. Fruitful Arrivals. November passed swiftly. Upon returning to Shenzhen, Zheng Jiang, after an afternoon of discussions with several founders, jointly with the Shenzhen State-Owned Assets Supervision and Administration Commission, accepted Hongxing's additional investment. Dajiang's latest product, the Spirit Zen Knight, commenced its listing on the Hongxing Mall. However, it is noteworthy that the after-sale service remains independent, as Hongxing has merely listed Dajiang's drones without branding them under the Hongxing name. In November, the physical stores continue to open incessantly, with 3 locations in the capital city, including the flagship store. In Shanghai, there is 1 flagship store and 2 regular stores. In several provincial capital cities, most establishments are still in preparation, expected to commence operations by the first half of 2014. These stores are under the supervision of Zhang Jianwei, who, over the past year, has been perpetually traveling for business, darting across the nation. With the completion of preparations in these major cities, her workload has somewhat eased, primarily because her team has matured and members can independently handle regional assessments and formulate plans. A meeting with Fruit is scheduled for the end of November. Following several internal discussions, Chen Chen decided to first ascertain the conditions that Fruit could offer. If Fruit is willing to provide funds for the expansion of the Yangtze River New Energy Factory, then accepting their orders would be feasible. Mr. Cockle from Fruit has arrived. Chen Chen was informed. Have you notified Mr. Liu? Please ask him to wait in the reception room. I will join him shortly. Chen Chen closed his laptop and rose. Addressing Shunro, Mr. Liu has already gone ahead, she replied, assisting Chen Chen in adjusting his attire before accompanying him to the reception room. Mr. Cockle, would you care for a beverage? In the reception room, Lu Weiqi was already seated, attending to the chief operating officer from the Fruit headquarters, indicating the company's earnestness in this collaboration by sending a representative directly from headquarters. Lu, I would like a cup of tea. I have developed a fondness for Chinese tea during my time in the United States. Mr. Cockle's command of Chinese was limited to a few words. Yet Lu Weiqi's proficiency in English rendered translation unnecessary, allowing for direct conversation. While Lu Weiqi busied himself brewing tea for Mr. Cockle, Chen Chen, accompanied by Shinro, entered the reception room. Mr. Cockle, I apologize for the wait, he said, extending his hand towards Cockle. Observing Chen Chen's arrival, Lu Weiqi promptly stood and introduced Mr. Cockle. This is our chairman, Mr. Chen. Mr. Cockle adjusted his suit slightly before rising to shake hands, saying, Hello, Chen, I'm the COO of Fruit Cockle. Please, have a seat. Mr. Chen, I am curious if your Yangtze River batteries could supply fruit? Without preamble, Mr. Cockle broached the subject as soon as they were seated. Regrettably, our production capacity at Yangtze River Batteries is insufficient. We are barely managing to supply our own needs at Red Star, and thus, I fear we cannot accommodate your requirements. Chen Chen replied apologetically. Shinro translated Chen Chen's words from Mr. Cockle, who immediately frowned. Mr. Chen, would your company be willing to sell the patents for Yangtze River Batteries, or perhaps grant us a license? This way, Fruit could manufacture independently without encroaching on your factory's capacity. Chen Chen was momentarily taken aback by Cockle's audacity, chuckling at the sheer boldness of the request. Was he sent a fool? Or did he think Chen Chen was one? To demand patents and licenses so brazenly was absurd. Mr. Cockle, might Fruit consider providing the source code for the iOS system for Red Star's use? No, Chun, that is impossible, Cockle replied. This foreigner, asking for patents so casually. Yet when Chen Chen inquired about the iOS source code, he flatly refused. It was as if he were mocking Chun's intelligence. The previous Mitchell son Abbott had at least engaged earnestly regarding battery procurement, unlike this conversation filled with nonsensical requests. Chun, if Fruit were to procure your Yangtze River battery cells, what price could you offer? Mr. Cockle continued, oblivious to Chen Chen's growing displeasure. At 45 per unit, based on your specifications for the cells used in Fruit 5. The factory price for the cells is approximately 53. This is merely for the cells, not the assembled batteries. Calculating the 5,500 mAh battery used in the Kunping phone, the factory price is slightly over 60 per unit. Offering it to Fruit at 45 can be considered an 8-fold increase based on exchange rates. Is this price exorbitant? Indeed, it is quite steep. However, if Fruit is willing to pay over 30 per unit, I would be amenable to supplying them immediately. Oh my god, Chun, this is too expensive. We procure Sony's battery cells for less than 5. Yours, with only a 30 increase in energy density, are priced at 9 times that. This is outrageous. Mr. Cockle shook his head repeatedly, recalling that Mitchell's son Abbott had reported that Red Star was asking for only 25 per unit. And now the price had nearly doubled. There's an old Chinese saying, you get what you pay for. The reason you find it expensive is that you have yet to experience it in the Fruit phone. Perhaps you would like to take some samples back for testing? Chen Chen replied calmly. Of course, this price is based on our factory's current rates. If Mr. Cockle finds it excessive, a prepayment could be arranged. And once our factory expands, I believe the price will decrease. Offering such a high price with such composure. It was as if Chen Chen had Fruit firmly within his grasp. Mr. Cockle realized he could not underestimate this young man. Chen Chen's demeanor was unfazed, not even glancing in Cockle's direction. Most suppliers would be overly cautious, even regarding their expressions, but Chen Chen appeared indifferent, leaving Mr. Cockle at a loss. As Mitchell's son had indicated, Red Star's goal was to secure funds from Fruit to expand the factory. Yet traditionally, Fruit had always purchased products before payment. Now, the roles had reversed, requiring them to pay up front. For Chen Chen, he feigned calmness, yet the price was indeed high, and he feared Mr. Cockle might walk away upon hearing it. However, with Cook's shrewdness, it was plausible that he would procure a batch of Yangtze River battery cells and subsequently launch a new version of the Fruit 5S with extended battery life, increasing the price by a couple of $100s for consumers. Presently, as Mr. Cockle appeared conflicted yet still inclined to negotiate, Chen Chen felt no urgency. Selling the battery cells at a high price to Fruit and using their prepayment to expand the factory was a dual victory. Should Fruit decline, it mattered little. Red Star could simply invest in the expansion without incurring losses. Chapter 121, Cooperation Achieved, Profitable Venture. Expanding the factory does not necessarily require years, with sufficient funds. The construction speed in China is well understood. After a moment of contemplation, Mr. Cockle stated, Chun, I tentatively agree to your proposal. We can make an initial payment to facilitate the expansion, but I require exclusive rights for the next 3 years. Upon hearing this, Lu Weiqi was perplexed regarding the nature of the exclusive rights being referenced. Did it mean that no other companies could use the cells other than Fruit? Or was it strictly for Fruit's use, excluding even Red Star? Mr. Cockle, could you clarify what you mean by exclusive rights? Lu Weiqi inquired. Lu, I mean that for the next 3 years, Red Star can supply exclusively to our Fruit company and cannot provide battery cells to any other phone manufacturer, of course. Excluding Red Star itself, Lu Weiqi breathed a sigh of relief. Thankfully, this foreigner was not completely unreasonable. Had he insisted that even Red Star could not use them, they would have had to dismiss him immediately. Red Star is not a secretive startup. It would be absurd for them to forego using their own products. Chun, I fear I cannot accept this price. If it could be set below $10, I believe we could amicably agree on a collaboration. No, the minimum is $40. Chen Chen is adamant about the $40 price. Chun, I was referring to the price after the expansion. If after the expansion, the price remains the same, then there is no point in continuing our discussions. Coker shook his head, thinking that this Chen Chen truly intends to milk the Fruit company dry. He would not try to seize such a $40 price. Chen Chen rose and walked aside with Lu Weiqi, whispering, Old Lu, if I insist on $40, will I drive this old devil away? Mr. Chen, that price is excessively high. You should relent a bit. In truth, anything above $10 is already a substantial profit for us. Chen Chen shook his head, determined to seize this rare opportunity to profit vigorously. However, it is likely that the fruit company may indeed find this price unacceptable. The minimum price discussed with Lu Weiqi a few days ago was actually just $10, yielding a 100% profit margin, equating to the fruit company paying a portion for the production. Upon returning to his seat, Chen Chen addressed Coker. Mr. Coker, after conferring with the CEO of Hongxing, we would like to present you with a revised offer of $28. This price reflects our sincere intent. Coker Neal continued to shake his head. He had already conducted research before arriving and knew that the production cost for a single battery cell by Hongxing did not exceed $10. After mass production, the price would diminish further, and even accounting for D costs, it was unreasonable to demand $28. $12, Coquille insisted. $26, $125, $255. Watching the two negotiate like children bickering, Shenro kept translating, while Lu Weiqi stifled laughter. It seemed that Mr. Chen was determined to extract a hefty sum from the fruit company. $15. I need at least 30 million units annually. Eventually, Coker Neal grew somewhat impatient. It felt undignified for someone of his stature to haggle with a small company. Wasn't this the duty of a procurement officer? Mr. Coker, $23. You have no idea how much we have invested in this battery. Chen Chen remained firm, unwilling to relent on the high price. It was evident that $15 was not his limit, and with further discussion, he would readily agree to $18. $17, with the fruit company paying a 1 million unit deposit up front, full payment. $20, with at least a 10 million unit deposit, also full payment. When they finally reached $19, Coker refused to budge, yet Chen Chen was already elated at this price. The ex-factory price was less than 50 RMB, and after expansion, it would decrease further, with a selling price exceeding 150. This meant that as long as Yangtze River New Energy Company secured the fruit company's order, it would transform into a company with annual revenues in the tens of billions, even surpassing the profit margins of its parent company, Hongxing Group. Making money was not a crime. Investing that foreign capital into the development of domestic industries was not aiding the enemy, but rather redistributing wealth. With such high profit margins, who else should they target if not the fruit company? Moreover, the first batch required a full upfront payment for 5 million battery cells, which was crucial. This funding would enable the rapid expansion of Yangtze River New Energy Company, thus utilizing the fruit company's funds for its own ventures. Coker now contemplated that perhaps the price of the fruit phone's long-lasting version would need to be raised by several tens of dollars if the procurement price escalated. They could easily recoup the cost from consumers. The anticipated moment of retribution never occurred. Those who reached Coker's position were not easily swayed. His mention of acquiring Yangtze River's battery patents was merely a casual remark. If there were negotiations, they would proceed. If not, they would not. There was no way to coerce Hongxing into transferring technology simply because the fruit company was large. Such actions would tarnish the fruit company's reputation. In the future, which company would dare collaborate with the fruit company if it became known for such practices? The specifics of the collaboration would require dedicated personnel from both sides to discuss. But the general framework had already been established. The fruit company would pay Hongxing a full upfront deposit for 5 million battery cells at a tentative price of $19, with precise details to be discussed later. With an annual procurement volume of no less than 30 million units, Hongxing would refrain from selling Yangtze River batteries or battery cells to any mobile phone companies other than the fruit company for the next 3 years. Hongxing's own use would not be restricted. Additionally, Hongxing was to provide no less than 3 million battery cells to the fruit company by March 2014, and complete the first phase of factory construction and commence production by August 2014. Chen Chen understood these supplementary terms, particularly the requirement for production and supply by August, as the fruit company typically held its autumn launch events in September or October. Naturally, the new models would need to begin mass production before the conference, necessitating Hongxing's provision of battery cells. After bidding farewell to Coker, Chen Chen and Lu Weiqi burst into laughter in the meeting room. They had truly struck gold. Based on an annual quantity of 30 million units, just the Yangtze River New Energy Company alone could yield tens of billions in profit. Furthermore, the initial construction would not cost Hongxing a dime. With sufficient funds, Yangtze River New Energy Company could proceed with further development, enhancing R&D and production lines for other battery models, laying a solid foundation for future Hongxing automobiles. However, while Hongxing was deliberating on expanding its factory, a rumor began circulating online. The origin of this rumor stemmed from someone capturing a photo of Coker leaving Hongxing, visibly elated, leading to speculation about the cause of his joy. Chapter 122. Hongxing's anti-tank drone water text. From Coker's perspective, although Hongxing's asking price was somewhat elevated, the $19 price was acceptable. The fruit company's new model, the Fruit 6, was already in design, with plans for a large-screen version, the Fruit 6 Plus, enhanced by Yangtze River batteries. This would allow it to take off directly. The several million battery cells in the supplementary agreement with Hongxing were intended for the initial launch of a long-lasting version of the 5S to gauge market reaction. Coker had flawlessly completed the tasks assigned to him, with Nokia fallen and Samsung relegated to second place. The fruit company was poised to become the dominant mobile phone brand on Earth, which explained his radiant demeanor. However, this scene was captured by an observant individual. Soon after, rumors began to circulate online that the fruit company was poised to acquire Hongxing, with reports gaining traction. Fruit's COO Coker has reached an acquisition agreement with Hongxing. Domestic brand acquisition. What does the fruit company see in Hongxing? Shocked. What was Coker's purpose in visiting Hongxing? The internet buzzes. Hongxing is set to acquire the fruit company. What? Is this for real? Didn't Hongxing just launch a new model? How could the fruit company acquire them? Besides, why would the fruit company bother acquiring Hongxing? Why? Haven't you seen how popular the Kunping 2 phone is? The fruit company is feeling the pressure and intends to eliminate the threat by acquiring Hongxing. I think the fruit company is interested in Hongxing's battery technology and fast charging capabilities. They likely went to discuss a collaboration. Old Zhang, weren't you saying that the fruit company's lab has fast charging technology of several hundred watts? Why has it been 2 years and still no progress? Let us not beat a dead horse. Old Zhang has long stopped using this account. I also think the acquisition of Hongxing is unrealistic. A company with annual revenues in the hundreds of billions would not be so easily acquired. It's more likely that, as mentioned above, the fruit company is seeking to negotiate some collaboration with Hongxing. Unbelievable. The fruit company is actually seeking collaboration with Hongxing. Do you think it's about batteries or charging? I suspect it pertains to charging. Nowadays, even domestically produced smartphones, regardless of being budget models, boast a minimum charging power of 10 watts, while those from the esteemed Apple languish at a mere 5 watts. It seems Apple is seeking to procure charging technology from Hongxing. Chairman Chen Chen of Hongxing, what business negotiations are you engaging in with them? Is it true that Apple is poised to acquire you? Observing the increasingly outrageous rumors circulating online, Hongxing felt compelled to issue an announcement to clarify the situation. Recently, Apple COO Mr. Kirk and Chairman Chen Chen of Hongxing engaged in amicable discussions, resulting in a preliminary collaboration between Hongxing Group's Yangtze River New Energy Company and Apple. Apple and Yangtze River New Energy? Could it be that Hongxing is supplying Apple with Yangtze River battery cells? Yu Chengbei pondered over Hongxing's announcement. Previously, he had approached Chen Chen to procure Yangtze River batteries, only to be turned down due to insufficient production capacity. Now, supplying Apple. Where would such capacity come from? Supplying Apple is not a matter of hundreds of thousands or millions, but rather tens of millions in volume. Given Yangtze River New Energy's current factory, it is already a struggle to meet the demands of Hongxing's own smartphones, let alone supply Apple. Mr. Yu, we have news. The manager of the marketing department burst into Yu Chengbei's office with great urgency. The factory of Yangtze River New Energy is set to expand, reportedly funded by Apple. Apple funded it. Would they be so generous? Indeed, it is Apple that is providing the funds. The details are unclear, but the gist is that Apple wishes to procure Yangtze River batteries and insists on paying a portion of the deposit to facilitate the expansion. Or else they will not be included in Apple's supplier roster. Haha, I never thought Apple would face setbacks in Huaxia. Yu Chengbei chuckled. However, if Yangtze River New Energy becomes part of Apple's supplier system, their development will undoubtedly accelerate. Do we have any leads on our new battery? You turned to inquire of a representative from the Huawei laboratory standing nearby. Lu Xiao felt a twinge of despair. Was developing a new battery really that simple? They needed fast-charging, high-density batteries and screens. Even with Huawei's expansive laboratory and skilled engineers, these innovations could not simply materialize at will. Mr. Yu, we still have no leads. Noticing Lu Xiao's somewhat unnatural expression, Yu Chengbei refrained from pressing further. He was anxious himself. As for charging and battery technology, it was evident that Huawei could not catch up to Hongxing. Initially, you had hoped to regain ground with their new processors and 4G basebands, but unexpectedly, Hongxing had also achieved 4G baseband capabilities, and their processors were comparable in performance to Huawei's. Now, with Hongxing's price for the third model rising to between $2,000 and $3,000, they were effectively putting Huawei's P-series to shame. Yu Chengbei had nearly abandoned hope for the domestic market. Huawei's high-end prospects now depended on the international market. Fortunately, Hongxing had yet to venture abroad. If Hongxing were to expand internationally, It would imply that neither the domestic nor the international markets could contend with them. As the saying goes, what you fear will come to pass. Just as Yu Chungbei was contemplating Hongxing's lack of international expansion, the marketing manager's words doused him with cold water. Mr. Yu, Hongxing will hold a global launch event in Munich at the end of December, hosted by Lu Weiqi. As per the latest news from Hongxing, Yu Qingbei's expression instantly darkened, while the marketing manager, oblivious to Yu's reaction, continued. It is expected that they will unveil the international version of Hongxing 3 and the second generation of Kunpeng, with the initial batch set to launch in the European market. Furthermore, Hongxing has opened a dedicated window for their products on India's largest e-commerce site, Flipkart, which is currently accepting registrations. There seem to be no updates regarding the American market. Oh, by the way, employees in our Nigeria branch mentioned that a group of Huaxia individuals has registered a company called Chuanqing locally. Our staff learned during conversations with them that they hail from a company in the capital. Given the name Chuanqing, I suspect Hongxing is preparing to enter the African market as well. Yu Qingbei hardly cared about developments in Africa. The India market was not particularly relevant either. These regions were not Huawei's primary sales territories. Only the European and American markets could support Huawei's pricing and profits. Now, with Hongxing's first step into international waters targeting Europe, you felt a renewed sense of urgency. The European and American markets were Huawei's foundation and must not be relinquished. Please leave. I need to speak with Lu Xiao. Understood, Mr. Yu. Once the marketing manager exited, Yu Qingbei turned to Lu Xiao and asked, Dr. Lu, speak candidly. Does Huawei truly need to resort to Hongxing's patents and agreements for charging technology? Is there no alternative path? Lu Xiao met Yu Qingbei's gaze and replied earnestly, Mr. Yu, nearly all routes for high-voltage fast-charging technology have been patented by Hongxing. Our laboratory has a low-voltage, high-current solution akin to OPCO's, but we can only achieve 30 watts before facing significant issues. The first issue pertains to the size of the charger, which is not critical. The second issue, however, concerns the heat generated during charging. This is an insurmountable problem due to the law of energy conservation. Thus, we must either secure authorization for Hongxing's patents to develop our own protocol or utilize their existing solutions that support their fast-charging protocol. Beyond this, we have no other options. Currently, the protocol employed by DAMI is indeed Hongxing's. Earlier in the year, Lu Xiao had informed Yu Qingbei that Huawei's laboratory had surpassed 18 watts in power output. At that time, Yu had still entertained hopes that their laboratory could achieve even higher power levels this year, developing Huawei's own fast-charging solution and proprietary protocol. He had not anticipated that Hongxing would obstruct their development trajectory entirely. Now, Lu Xiao's words shattered Yu Qingbei's illusions. Mr. Yu, noticing Yu Qingbei lost in thought, Lu Xiao gently called out to him twice. Oh, regarding the patent authorization, I will reach out to Hongxing. Many of our 4G patents overlap with those utilized by Hongxing's baseband, so there is no need to worry about them withholding authorization. Even if we eventually use Hongxing's patents, we must not abandon our own research in this area. Submitting oneself to others is not in Yu Qingbei's nature. Utilizing others' resources does not preclude the necessity for a backup plan. As for patent fees, Yu Qingbei was indifferent. Even if Huawei sent money to Hongxing, they would likely refuse, given that Hongxing must pay Huawei for 4G patent fees. The matter of Hongxing supplying batteries to Apple left Yu Qingbei feeling somewhat disgruntled. Why would you prefer to provide Yangtze River batteries to Apple rather than to Huawei, another domestic manufacturer? Are you afraid that Huawei could compete with Hongxing if they obtained Yangtze River batteries? In truth, Chen Chen's reluctance to supply domestic manufacturers stemmed from the intense competition in the domestic market. Additionally, these domestic companies could only afford limited procurement amounts. When DAMI's Lei Jun approached Chen Chen, he was frightened away when Chen merely added a few dozen yuan to the factory price. How could DAMI possibly maintain a competitive edge when a single battery cell costs over 100 yuan? It's simply untenable. Moreover, among domestic manufacturers, Hongxing's mid-range and high-end sales volume far exceeds that of Huawei. Even if Hongxing were to supply Huawei, Huawei would not utilize them in low-end models. Yet, the volume of mid-range and high-end devices Huawei could sell in a year would only reach the tens of millions at most, which pales in comparison to Hongxing's procurement numbers for a single model. In contrast, Apple not only boasts a minimum procurement volume of 30 million units annually, but also offers favorable pricing. Furthermore, should the day come when Hongxing faces sanctions from the United States, they could contact government officials to include Yangtze River batteries on China's export ban list to the United States, delivering a crippling blow to Apple without the need for compensation. However, all of this is a distant concern. Who knows who might sanction whom by then? It is possible that the United States may no longer exist. Only a special administrative region of the People's Republic of China, Washington. In contemplating the future, Chen Chen envisioned a vivid scene. In 2025, David gazed upon the remnants of a camp, devastated and nearly obliterated. After savoring the last leaf of his cigarette, he climbed into an Abrams tank, preparing to join a handful of remaining tanks in a valiant attempt to impede the PLA's heavy mechanized brigade as it advanced toward Washington. However, as he exited the camp, a swift and ominous Red Star anti-tank drone hurtled toward him, prompting David to lament, "I should have savored that leaf a moment longer." Chapter 123, The Indian Market. Yu Qingbei's information was indeed accurate. The overseas operations of Red Star were rapidly unfolding. Following the launch of Red Star 3, a collaboration was established with Flipkart, India's largest e-commerce platform. The products of Red Star would be exclusively sold in India through Flipkart, utilizing solely online channels. Within less than a month of the Red Star 3's release, all preparatory measures were completed, and from November 11th to November 26th, Flipkart's reservation interface for Red Star received over 300,000 bookings in just a matter of days. To commemorate this milestone, Liu Weiqi made a special trip to India. Hosting a small press conference in a modest auditorium, he addressed the gathered media, passionately introducing the Red Star 3. The Red Star 3 boasts the world's second fastest charging speed. Its rear cover, crafted with internal membrane transfer technology, offers an unparalleled tactile experience. The Red Star wristband supports an astonishing 30 days of battery life. You can even bathe in the Ganges without removing it. The Kunping Phone 2 features the fastest charging speed globally, equipped with a colossal 5,500 mAh battery, dual-camera Sony custom sensors, and a generous 128 gigabytes of storage. At that moment, Liu Weiqi radiated enthusiasm on the rudimentary stage, reminiscent of his days pioneering overseas markets at Jiani. The Indian audience, encountering this Chinese mobile phone manufacturer for the first time, quickly became aware of a brand called Red Star, thanks to extensive media coverage. On the third day following Liu Weiqi's press conference, the international version of Red Star 3 and Kunping Phone 2 officially launched for sale on Flipkart. Evidently, the Indian consumers were yet to experience the phenomenon of flash sales from China. The initial batch of 50,000 units of Red Star 3 sold out in a mere 12 minutes. The delay attributed to Flipkart's unexpected surge in demand, leading to a server crash on launch day. Some users found their shopping carts emptied before they could reach the checkout page, while others were erroneously charged multiple times. Flipkart's service is abysmal. Shouldn't they have announced that successful reservations do not guarantee purchase? With such technology, can they even hope to rival Amazon? I wouldn't believe it if Flipkart drank the waters of the Ganges dry. This must be a publicity stunt by Red Star. Every media outlet is now reporting on Red Star. I managed to secure a Red Star 3, as I can no longer tolerate the sluggish charging speeds of Samsung. With Red Star's arrival in India, those overpriced Samsung, HTC, and Sony devices are bound to face a devastating blow. The pricing of Red Star 3 in India was only marginally higher than its home market, with a special edition priced at 2,198 Indian rupees compared to 1,998 renminbi domestically, and the 464 version at 2,999 Indian rupees. For companies like Samsung and Sony, which profited effortlessly in the Indian market, this price point represented an exceptional value. Mainstream Indian media, numerous mid-sized outlets, and countless smaller publications delved deeply into the launch of the Red Star phone, maintaining a keen interest in this new entrant to the Indian market. Many media outlets expressed skepticism regarding the collaboration between Red Star and Flipkart, noting that approximately 94% of the Indian market operates offline, with online sales accounting for a mere 6%. They were doubtful about the viability of selling the Red Star 3 exclusively online. Yes, the second batch must exceed 100,000 units, and they must be airlifted. We need to act swiftly. A batch of Kunping phones must also be transported. Chiba, the Indian director, felt invigorated. This market was an uncharted blue ocean for Red Star. Following the swift sellout of the initial 50,000 units, Chiba immediately contacted headquarters to expedite another shipment. Deeming slow maritime transport unacceptable, air transport was imperative to seize the moment and capture market share. Despite the population of over a billion people in 3 billion cattle, the purchasing power of the elite class in India, comprising high castes, should not be underestimated. The remaining population would naturally be catered to by budget brands. In light of the opportunities presented by the Indian market, Chen Chen resolved to capitalize on the moment. He intended to sell as much as possible. Ready to withdraw at the first sign of unfavorable conditions, firmly resisting any notion of deep investments in a nation known for its capriciousness in rules and regulations. One minute they impose fines, the next they fleece you. In the previous era, which company, be it Xiaomi, Oppo, or Vivo, has it been taken advantage of in India? It's a brazen scheme to enrich themselves at others' expense. Thus, Chen Chen had no intention of deeply cultivating the Indian market. As for establishing factories, that was out of the question. Should any signs of trouble arise, he would withdraw immediately. If Xiaomi wished to enter the Indian market in the future, they were welcome. They would merely be working for the Indians. When dealing with Indians, one cannot trust mere words, nor can one rely on written agreements. The only certainty lies in 5 words and a punctuation mark. Pay in full, up front. Compared to the Indian market, while the European and American markets also feature their share of rule breakers, these companies maintain operations in China, making them wary of jeopardizing their assets there. Moreover, even in the face of future sanctions and trade wars, there exists a framework of rules, unlike the unhinged nature of India. Mr. Lei, the Red Star 3 sold out 50,000 units in just 12 minutes during its debut in the Indian market. Should we initiate our export plans? Lin Bing, the president of Xiaomi, inquired as he held a freshly received report in Lei Jun's office. Currently, Xiaomi's domestic market share was no match for Red Star, as they lacked offline channels to compete with Oppo and Vivo for market share. Observing Red Star's triumphant entry into India, utilizing the same flash sales model Xiaomi employed, Lin Bing began to entertain the idea of venturing abroad. Since competing with Red Star domestically was futile, perhaps exploring overseas markets would be a viable alternative. Lei Jun had indeed contemplated such a move. In fact, preparations for operations in India had commenced months earlier, leading to the establishment of a Xiaomi office in India, with a 32-year-old Indian named Manu appointed as the general manager. The original plan entailed launching the Xiaomi 3 in the domestic market, achieving satisfactory results before testing the waters in Southeast Asia and India. However, delays due to issues with the Xiaomi 3's chipset and overheating had postponed this strategy. With Red Star taking the lead, Xiaomi could no longer afford to persist in a head-to-head battle with Red Star domestically. Has Red Star established a company in India? Lei Yun inquired. No, they have partnered with Flipkart, the largest e-commerce company in India, which holds the exclusive sales rights for Red Star in the country. It appears Chen Chen merely intends to test the waters in India without the intention of establishing a dedicated company, Lin Bing responded. At that moment, Lei Jun's eyes sparkled with realization. This meant that Red Star was only inclined to grant sales rights to Flipkart without any plans for deep market penetration. India, being the most populous country besides China, is rapidly evolving, and the market potential here is undeniably immense. If we, at the Me, can seize this opportunity, the prospects could be as promising as those in our domestic market. We must act swiftly while Red Star has yet to firmly establish itself in India and delve into this market. Lei Yun declared resolutely. Moreover, the labor costs and other expenses in India are significantly lower than those in our homeland, Lin Bing added. Contact Manu immediately. We must collaborate with Flipkart to expedite our entry into the Indian market. At that moment, Manu, who held the position of general manager of Deme's Indian branch, finally received news from the headquarters. Over the past few months, he had registered a physical company in India, primarily because it was unavoidable whenever he spoke with potential candidates. They would inquire, what kind of company is Deme? Where's your company located? Manu could only respond with a forced smile. We are a physical company, but we currently lack a physical presence. We are still negotiating for office space and are working out a cafe. Conversations often ended there. Once Manu had recruited sufficient staff and secured an office, the headquarters fell silent, leaving him uncertain about the direction of the company's business, resulting in nearly 2 months of inactivity. When he received Lin Bing's call, he nearly exclaimed, "Oh my, have you finally remembered that Deme has a company in India?" "I apologize, Manager Manu. The headquarters encountered some issues recently, but they have been resolved, and now is your moment to shine," Lin Bing replied. "What do you need me to do?" Manu asked. "Since you already have some business ties with Flipkart, I need you to reach out to them. Our Deme phones must be sold on their platform. In a few days, Lei Jun and I will fly to India. You will be responsible for contacting media representatives, and we will hold a small press conference to generate buzz for the Deme 3, Lin Bing stated. After hanging up, Manu clapped his hands to rally the idle employees in the office. "All right, team, let's get moving. The headquarters has assigned us a task." Manu acted swiftly, reaching an agreement with Flipkart within days and also connecting with several small media outlets. It wasn't that he didn't want to reach out to larger media. They simply weren't interested. Dummy? What kind of company is that? An agricultural company? Chapter 124. The Journey to Germany, Final International Trip. Yet, These few small media outlets helped the name Demi begin to circulate in India, following a process nearly identical to that of Red Star. They opened a reservation channel on Flipkart, and Lei Jun and Lin Bing personally flew to India for the press conference. The only difference was that Flipkart was well prepared this time, in fear of a repeat of the server crash incident during the explosive sales of Red Star 3. Demi is also in India. Lei Jun is there for the press conference. While Demi was expanding its operations in India, Chen Chen received news as well. But he felt no anxiety. If they wanted to go, so be it. The Indian market is substantial, and Red Star only intended to make a quick profit before departing. As for Demi, they could build factories if they wished, or delve deeper into the Indian market. It was their choice. Did Lei Jun sing at the press conference? Chen Chen asked Shinro, stifling a laugh. Sing? What would he sing? Shinro queried, puzzled. Haha, just a joke. Since Lei Jun is in India, an album is certainly on the horizon, sooner or later. Chen Chen, like a butterfly flapping its wings, noted that Demi was venturing into the Indian market even earlier than expected, while OnePlus was still emerging at its historical timeline. On December 17, 2013, Liu Zhihu announced the establishment of OnePlus technology, and the OnePlus community launched the same day. Liu Zhihu's slogan for OnePlus was "Never Settle," aiming to create the finest Android phone products for users. This also represented Oppo's dual-brand strategy, where certain aspects were interchangeable, such as underlying architectural platform technology and shared supply chains. Initially, OnePlus thrived independently, swiftly launching in over 30 countries, representing a new phase of Oppo's overseas expansion. The OnePlus 7 Pro, with its curved 2K display, 90Hz refresh rate, pop-up camera, dual speakers, X-axis linear motor, and under-display fingerprint sensor, captivated countless individuals. Now, OnePlus officially stepped onto the historical stage. However, this was merely the company's formation. The release of their first phone would undoubtedly occur the following year. Time flowed steadily, and as Chen Chen disembarked from the plane onto the unfamiliar European soil, he realized it was already 2014. Arriving early in Munich, Liu Weiqi sent someone to the airport to welcome Chen Chen, an employee of Red Star German branch, Manhwa. As the vehicle drove on, Chen Chen began to rest his eyes while contemplating whether to debut the Kunpeng phone in the European and American markets. Much like the future Huawei, which first launched internationally before returning home, this phone represented Red Star's flagship high-end offering, and Chen Chen held it in high regard. He intended to use this phone to compete with the likes of Samsung and Apple for a share of the high-end market. Some might argue this reflects a disdain for the domestic market, but that is not the case. It significantly impacts brand perception and international standing. In a previous life, Huawei's choice to unveil their phones in Munich, London, Paris, or Berlin was driven by a desire to spread awareness swiftly and create a sensational impact. Huawei aimed to establish itself as an international brand alongside Samsung and Apple. Launching domestically would hinder the development of that global image. This reasoning parallels Samsung's annual choice to host launch events in the U.S. or Europe. Red Star's decision to hold its global launch in Munich was made with careful consideration. Munich is Germany's second-largest financial center and a key hub for economic, cultural, and technological development. Additionally, it is one of Europe's most significant publishing centers, housing various publishers, including the Süddeutsche Zeitung. By choosing to unveil the Kunpeng Phone 2 here, Red Star aimed to effectively promote these products and showcase to the relatively uninformed European audience this globally leading phone in terms of battery life and charging speed. Following the domestic launch of the Kunpeng Phone 2, tech enthusiasts from Europe and America, who are often well-informed, expressed considerable interest in this fastest-charging phone from China. However, since Red Star lacked sales channels in Europe and America, acquiring the phone required alternative methods. Chapter 125, Red Star ROC Phone. On January 4, 2014, in Munich, Germany. High-end status is never achieved overnight, nor can it be established solely by accumulating materials and competing with specifications. The Kunpeng Phone 2, as the inaugural high-end smartphone from Hongqing aimed at the European market, represents a tremendous investment of effort and passion by the company. The international version of the Xingyao OS underwent over 6 months of meticulous development, and the phone's name has been thoughtfully redesigned. The curved, thermoplastic 3D glass seamlessly integrates the ROC phone's back with its stainless steel frame, offering an unparalleled tactile experience. The Hongqing ROC phone employs the Lingxiao chip in conjunction with the latest Xingyao OS 32 software, further enhancing the device's intelligence. The performance acceleration, energy optimization, and an array of robust features provided by Xingyao OS promise users an extraordinary smartphone experience, while ensuring the security of personal privacy data. The side-mounted capacitive touch fingerprint sensor makes its debut on this device, preserving the integrity of the phone's display while offering users enhanced privacy protection. This is the latest achievement from a collaboration between Hongxing Labs and its suppliers. Chen Chen opted to avoid both the front panel pressure fingerprint and the rear hole fingerprint options, believing that any openings in the glass back would compromise its integrity, diminishing visual appeal and ultimately proving counterproductive. Consequently, the decision was made to implement the side fingerprint module. This side fingerprint feature has not yet been incorporated into the domestic Kunpeng phones due to its recent mass production at the end of October this year, resulting in high costs and limited availability. Chen Chen plans to unveil an upgraded version, the Kunpeng Phone 2S, in the domestic market following the Spring Festival. However, understanding the European market's strong emphasis on security and privacy, Lu Weiqi ultimately decided to include this side fingerprint recognition module in the international version. It is well known that while Western nations profess a commitment to privacy, they often paradoxically engage in privacy infringement. The Hongxing ROC is also equipped with a Yangtze River battery source from China, named after the longest river in the country, which is one of the cradles of this ancient civilization. The Yangtze River battery, the largest in the industry, boasts a capacity of 5,500 mAh, along with the highest energy density. It provides the ROC phone with an extraordinary battery life of up to 39 hours, while also being lightweight and compact, achieving an impressively slender thickness of 6.71 millimeters. Furthermore, this phone stands as the fastest charging device in the world, with a charging power of 55 watts, allowing the substantial 5,500 mAh battery to be fully charged in just 36 minutes. Users need not worry about safety, as Hongxing's fast charging technology has undergone several generations of development and refinement, and has received safety certification from the European Union. Lu Weiqi confidently and passionately delivered his presentation on stage, marking his first experience hosting such a grand launch event abroad, attended by 1,000 audience members, including global media, competitors from China, representatives from Apple and Samsung, and spectators from across Europe. This scene was something Lu Weiqi had never encountered during his time at Giant. At this moment, he appeared earnest and impressive on stage, yet no one could dispute his claims. Lu Weiqi indeed had the credentials to boast the fastest charging speed globally, the most formidable Yangtze River battery, and an innovative curved glass design, all rendering the Kunpeng phone too undeniably dazzling. Upon hearing about the 55-watt charging power and the 5,500 mAh battery, the audience, unfamiliar with such advancements, couldn't help but exclaim, "Oh my God," in astonishment. While European users were still accustomed to 5-watt or 75-watt charging from Samsung, the staggering 55-watt power was akin to a cyclist suddenly encountering a high-speed train traveling at over 300 kilometers per hour. The primary camera of the Hongxing ROC utilizes a custom Sony IM229 sensor, combined with a bespoke 6-element fully transparent glass lens, alongside Hongxing's intelligent algorithms, which effectively identify numerous distinct scenes and objects, automatically adjusting the camera settings based on the characteristics and attributes of the subjects. By employing smarter algorithms, users can bid farewell to monotonous shooting parameter setups, ensuring that each photograph achieves outstanding results and allowing for an enriched photographic experience. The secondary camera features a 2-megapixel full-color lens that captures depth of field effects during portrait photography. Sitting in the audience, Yu Chengbei gazed enviously at Lu Weiqi on stage. Although Huawei's international launch events were equally grand, they lacked the impressive offerings that Hongxing presented. Huawei's Mate 1 faced significant backlash due to processor issues, severely damaging its reputation. In contrast, while it cannot be claimed that Hongxing's processors do not generate heat, with frequencies surpassing 2.6 GHz and full performance leading to heat generation, the company has introduced a dual copper pipe cooling technology applied in the Kunpeng phone, ensuring that the device's performance remains unaffected by heat, eliciting a degree of envy from Yu Chengbei. While Apple boasts its operating system, and Samsung excels in display and color calibration, Hongxing stands out with its battery and fast charging capabilities. Currently, Huawei can only compete with these manufacturers in terms of communication quality, with no advantages in other areas. Research. It all comes down to research. This was Yu Chengbei's singular thought. One day, Huawei too would stand on a larger stage than Hongxing, unveiling even more advanced smartphone technology. In contrast to Apple's native camera, Hongxing's camera places greater emphasis on algorithms, enhancing the aesthetic appeal of photographs through sophisticated software, rather than solely relying on larger sensors and light intake. Hongxing has consistently pursued research in this domain, and back in 2014, there was no necessity to utilize larger sensors to compete in the marketplace. Amidst the ever-changing greens of the world, a color rich in Eastern aesthetics and steady strength emerges, tranquil and profound, imbued with warmth. The more one gazes, the more one perceives nobility and elegance, a hue that hails from the illustrious heritage of Chinese civilization. Azure. Chapter 126 introduces a starting price of 550, inspired by the elegance of Chinese porcelain, reborn from the flames. This is the Hongxing Kunpeng ROC phone we present today, epitomizing the pinnacle of Eastern aesthetics. Oh my God! Chinese. The audience was captivated by the rock azure color in Lu Weiqi's hands, alongside the rendering displayed on the large screen. Their eyes transfixed as they exclaimed, "Oh my God!" This was their first encounter with the unique design and color of Chinese heritage on a smartphone. There exists an inexplicable fascination among Westerners for Chinese porcelain, and the international version of the Kunpeng phone features a color that differs slightly from its domestic counterpart. The domestic azure is darker, resembling light jade, while the international version adopts a lighter azure tone akin to that of Chinese porcelain. Plans are underway to release the Xiaoxing Classmate in the European market, but the multitude of languages across the continent has delayed compatibility. Currently, only English and Japanese adaptations have been completed. The inclusion of Japanese is due to the popularity of ACG, anime, comic, and games culture among the youth in Japan. Xiaoxing is currently working diligently to design a new appearance and model, featuring characters from ACG culture for release in Japan, confident in their appeal. After Lu Weiqi and others restored tranquility at the scene, the pricing for the Hongxing ROC was announced: $464 for the 550 model, $4128 for the 600 model, and $6128 for the 700 model. These prices exceed the domestic starting price, which has reached over $4,200, based on the current exchange rate of 1778. The international version of the Xingyao OS is considerably more streamlined compared to its domestic counterpart, and its software ecosystem is marginally more robust. The highest configuration of 6,128 represents the largest memory combination currently available in the international market, with competitors like Samsung still offering 232 and 332 configurations. Hongxing has doubled the memory combinations, demonstrating their earnest commitment. This is a strategy set by Lu Weiqi, regardless of market reception towards the 550 starting price. Hongxing must stand firm. If the initial international launch sets a conservative price, it would be detrimental to future brand development. Following the conclusion of the launch event, under the promotion of Yangtze River, a former marketing manager at Samsung, the event video began to circulate wildly across European and American networks. Numerous large media outlets in Europe dedicated significant coverage to the details of the Kunpeng ROC smartphone launch, coupled with Lu Weiqi's previous successful collaborations with local distributors and carriers. Posters of the Kunpeng phone began to appear in various offline mobile stores and carrier outlets. "Oh my God!" was the first exclamation from many European users upon encountering the Kunpeng phone. In their eyes, a country often associated with producing electronic waste like China could also manufacture such exquisite smartphones. ROC phone? Is this really a phone from China? It's hard to believe. I need to check if this phone is available nearby. A charging power of 55 watts is simply unimaginable. Oh my God, this is truly remarkable. Have Chinese phones advanced to such a level? If I could fully charge a phone in just 30 minutes, I would genuinely consider abandoning Samsung, as their charging speed is simply abysmal. A few months ago, I purchased a Huawei phone from China and found it quite impressive, especially with its 18-watt charging power. Yangtze River Battery, the naming prowess of the Chinese, is truly commendable. The name sounds fantastic. I particularly admire Chinese porcelain, and the casing of the ROC phone resembles fine Chinese ceramics. The color is simply stunning. Why hasn't Amazon listed this phone yet? Chinese users are incredibly fortunate. I've heard that even their cheapest phones can fully charge in an hour, unlike the dismal charging speeds of phones available here. Why didn't Hongxing release their intelligent speaker from the domestic market? I adore that product, and I'm more interested in where I can access its services than the ROC phone. European users who watched the launch event and its video were filled with curiosity and astonishment regarding this smartphone. They had never imagined that smartphones from China could be so impressive and refined. Not only the appearance, but also the configuration of the ROC phone has attracted considerable attention, as it surpasses many aspects of Samsung and Apple in terms of hardware. Additionally, the per capita income in Europe is relatively high, with disposable income exceeding that of domestic markets, and there are more enthusiasts researching mobile phones here. This has led to a surge in demand for the Kunpeng phone following its release. Hongxing has established its own official website in Europe, having acquired the domain for over 1 million, a highlight for many domain collectors. With the help of a local legal team, Hongxing purchased the HX domain for 1.46 million. As they aim for international expansion, a concise domain is crucial. Many foreigners do not understand the pinyin Hongxing, while HX is much simpler and easier to remember. Much like the transition from Xiaomi to Mi, which is also easier for foreigners to recall. The sales of the Kunping phone are being conducted through the official website, Amazon, and partnerships with offline distributors and carriers. Had it not been for Liu Weiqi's established connections, Hongxing would have faced considerable challenges in rapidly building its sales channels. This is also why Hongxing chose Europe as its first overseas destination instead of the United States, as many believe that the initial foray should be into the U.S. market. As the world's financial technology hegemonic power, the U.S. indeed possesses immense allure and market potential, attracting companies globally. However, Chen Chen is aware that the so-called oligarchs in the U.S. employ various means to undermine others who might threaten their market. Warehouse fires, suicides of executives and researchers, policy restrictions, fines, and public opinion. All are tactics used to systematically dismantle a company. Thus, Germany, as a leader in the European market, became the optimal choice for Hongxing. Chapter 127. Oh, my old friend, arriving in Europe? Hi, mate. Do you have the ROC phone for sale? You know, the one from China? Bill Ian inquired as he drove to a large mobile phone retailer. As someone who frequently traveled for work, he was highly interested in the fast charging and large battery of the Hongxing phone, willing to drive several kilometers to purchase it. Oh, my old friend. I do have it. Look, I'm using one myself, the store owner replied with a smile, displaying a poster of the Kunping phone at the entrance to attract more customers. That's fantastic. You know, I've been to several places, and I really don't want to buy it on Amazon. Our logistics are too slow. Hongxing has established a partnership with these large retailers, placing their phones in stores for sale, offering substantial commissions for each unit sold. Moreover, with the Kunping phone gaining immense popularity online, these retailers are eager to promote it. That LLB 600 in total. After completing the transaction, Bill Ian eagerly opened the packaging, marveling at the square design of the phone and its stunning rocky blue back. This is exquisite. He gently peeled away the plastic seal, holding the phone in his hand, and was pleasantly surprised by its comfortable grip. The back cover's 3D glass appeared remarkably beautiful, and the dual-edge curved design made it a delight to hold. This phone feels quite comfortable. It resembles a piece of art from China. I never expected a phone from China could be so beautiful and impressive. You're not the first to say that today. Every customer I've attended to has expressed similar sentiments upon seeing this phone, the owner remarked, noticing Bill Ian's captivated expression. Having sold 7 ROC phones that day, he anticipated a significant boost in sales for the month. Beeler Ian pressed the power button to turn on his phone. Upon entering the system interface, he was astounded by the remarkable fluidity of this device. Although it still lagged slightly behind the Fruit brand he had previously used, it far surpassed the performance of the Samsung Android devices he had encountered. The system was elegantly streamlined, with the international version of the Xingyao OS meticulously optimized for foreign users and devoid of the invasive software that plagued domestic models, resulting in an impeccably smooth experience. A colleague of his had recently acquired a Samsung Note 3, and, after trying it out, Ian concluded that aside from the screen's lack of vibrancy compared to his colleague's device, every other aspect of this phone eclipsed the Note 3. It seemed he had indeed made a wise choice. A smile of excitement graced Beeler Ian's face as he noted that while the S Pen of the Samsung Note 3 appeared quite impressive, it proved rather impractical for his work. Instead, it was the ROC's substantial battery and rapid charging capabilities that he truly needed. However, the LCD screen of his new phone was noticeably inferior to the Super AMOLED display of the Samsung Note 3, lacking the same brightness and vividness. Goodbye, my friend, he thought to himself, eager to return home and experience the wonders of this phone's super-fast charging. After bidding farewell to the store owner, Beeler Ian drove away from the mobile phone market. The owner, watching him depart, mused to himself, this marks the 30th ROC phone sold this week. This Chinese brand is surprisingly outperforming Samsung. Clearly, aside from the screen, ROC specifications were superior to those of Samsung's devices. While its processor did not match the Exynos and Snapdragon 800 found in the Samsung Note 3, the Hongxing Lingxiao S3 held its own against these processors, thanks to its enhanced cooling module allowing for higher frequencies. This Berlin mobile phone market also stocked Fruit brand phones, but only last year's iPhone 5, which had seen lackluster sales and dwindling inventory, as iPhones were primarily sold in exclusive stores and direct outlets. Consequently, many sellers were temporarily out of stock, resorting to offering models from Samsung, LG, and Sony instead. However, the ROC phones from China had indeed proven lucrative, with some markets selling hundreds of units daily. Chun, good news. Over the past week, our Kunpeng phones have activated over 170,000 units. Liu Weiqi, upon examining the latest data, promptly relayed the information back to his home country. Chen Chen had departed Germany the day after the press conference, while Liu Weiqi remained to finalize matters before returning home. Old Liu, you deserve the credit for breaking into the European market. When you return, I'll host a celebration in your honor. It was evident that Liu Weiqi was in high spirits. Selling over 170,000 units in a week was merely a day's sales back home. If it were a launch event, such figures could be reached in just 5 seconds, but in the European market, achieving such sales in the first week was certainly a promising start. Chen Chen was exceedingly satisfied, understanding the challenges of entering the European market, especially amidst the competition from Apple, Samsung, and LG Sony. Old Liu, trust me, this is merely the beginning. We must have faith in our product's prowess. I firmly believe our Kunpeng phone will earn the recognition of European users, ultimately surpassing Samsung and Apple to become a dominant force in the market. Once our market value reaches trillions of dollars, I'll share the profits with you. Keep up the good work, Old Liu. Listening to Chen Chen's ambitious vision over the phone, Liu Weiqi smirked. While Chen had many admirable qualities, he did have a penchant for painting grandiose scenarios. Previously, he had spoken of sharing profits upon reaching a trillion-dollar valuation. And now he was proclaiming a market value of trillions. Did he truly believe Liu Weiqi was easily swayed? Yet, there was something undeniably exhilarating in his words. Surpassing Apple and Samsung sounded invigorating. Whether or not there were profits to share mattered little to Liu Weiqi. He relished the feeling of conquering foreign markets. It was simply wonderful. Having successfully entered Europe, the next step would be to venture into the Americas. Liu Weiqi was determined to make Hongxing a global name. Chapter 128. Personnel changes. As more and more users received their ROC phones, the Hongxing brand began to gain traction across the European internet, akin to a small spark igniting a prairie fire. Users who purchased the ROC phone online or offline, after a few days of experience, eagerly shared their usage insights on local internet forums. A common thread among these users was their exaggerated enthusiasm when describing the unique features of the ROC phone. The system was fluid, specifically adapted, with outstanding performance, aesthetic appeal, and a delightful tactile experience. Most importantly, the battery life and rapid charging received unanimous praise from all users. My first encounter with this super-fast charging from China was exhilarating. I felt as if I had transformed from a caveman into a fighter pilot. The speed was beyond imagination. Why have we only just received this technology in France? After it has already matured for several generations in China? Not only was the charging speed impressive, but the dual camera capabilities also excelled in photography. After using this phone to capture a series of photos of Melinda, we enjoyed a delightful weekend. It was simply splendid. I can no longer tolerate the sluggish charging of Fruit brand phones. Is it true that ROC phones charge that quickly? Upstairs, my friend, oh yes. The speed is roughly 10 times that of your Fruit brand, perhaps even faster. As the online reviews of the ROC phone proliferated, more users grew intrigued by this device hailed as the world's fastest charging phone from China. After selling 170,000 units in the first week, sales began to decline gradually. However, as word of mouth spread online, sales rebounded dramatically. By the end of January, within just over 3 weeks, the 400,000 units Liu Weiqi had prepared for the European market were nearly sold out. These weeks had proved immensely profitable for the large markets selling the Kunpeng phone, with some even replacing promotional posters featuring the Samsung Note 3 with those of the Kunpeng phone. The Kunpeng phone had taken Europe by storm. Remarkably, it had achieved such sales figures within less than a month since its launch, prompting Liu Weiqi to reflect on how effortlessly this market expansion had unfolded. Consequently, he flew back to his home country to oversee production. However, transporting a batch of phones from China to Europe would take several days. During this time, European users would likely experience the sensation of scarcity firsthand. The Kunpeng phone launched in Europe? It sold out in less than a month? Is this real? Our phone manufacturer has finally ventured abroad. The high-end smartphone, an invisible barrier, often leaves domestic netizens unaware of events occurring beyond their borders. It was only a month after the Kunpeng phone's launch in Europe that news finally reached home, prompting astonishment among domestic users. How could Hongxing venture abroad so quietly, and in Europe no less? Indeed, a friend of mine studying in Italy informed me that numerous mobile phone retailers there prominently display posters of the Kunpeng phone, which is referred to as ROC phone overseas. ROC and Kunpeng share the same meaning, merely a translation of the latter. It is quite remarkable, as foreign brands have traditionally dominated our market. And now, we finally have a brand stepping onto the global stage. Are there any other brands I might have missed? Are you a primary school student upstairs? Huawei is also an international brand, you know. They not only sell in Europe, but also have a significant presence in the United States. Oh, I had no idea Huawei was that impressive. I thought they were just another domestic manufacturer. Huawei boasts numerous strengths. You should take the time to learn more about the company. Have you noticed that the international version of the Kunpeng Phone 2 features a fingerprint scanner, while our domestic version does not? Is Hongxing treating us differently? Indeed. I just checked the specifications, and aside from the operating system being the international version, it surprisingly includes side-mounted fingerprint recognition. Chen Chen, Hongxing Phone. Are you favoring international versions over ours? Why does the configuration for foreign models surpass our own? Are you intentionally pandering to these foreign brands? Hey, are you foolish? Just look at the starting price of the international Kunpeng Phone 2, which is 550. That's nearly 900 yuan more than our domestic price. Is that considered pandering? 550, forget I mentioned it. However, that fingerprint recognition does seem quite useful. I hope Hongxing releases an upgraded version soon. Who would have thought that foreign brands would experience such a day? I truly look forward to seeing their expressions while using super fast charging. Once you've experienced it, there's no going back. Liu Weiqi is currently focusing his efforts internationally, while Chen Chen handles domestic affairs. However, before departing, Liu Weiqi had already arranged many matters, including the promotion of the newly appointed Hongxing vice president, Chen Chen. During the last recruitment drive, they failed to acquire a few key figures Chen Chen desired, but successfully recruited Chen Chen, who was previously the brand marketing manager at Dami. He joined Hongxing almost concurrently with Yang Ta. Now, Yang Tuo has been promoted to vice president and global marketing president at Hongxing, while Chen Chen reports directly to Liu Weiqi. Chen Chen recognizes Chen Chen's exceptional capabilities and initially intended to place him in the Hongxing International Division to oversee international business. However, Liu Weiqi emphasized the significance of the first step in Hongxing's global expansion, ultimately deciding to manage it personally. As a result of this personnel change, Chen Chen was promoted from director of the Hongxing marketing department to vice president, temporarily overseeing the mainland market operations. In the future, Chen Chen's position will likely continue to evolve, with Chen Chen planning to assign him to the Hongxing International Division, while Liu Weiqi continues to oversee the overall strategy at Hongxing headquarters. He will also step down as the head of the Shining brand and promote the product manager of the Kunpeng Phone to lead the Shining brand. Additionally, the ecological chain department has been restructured into the Hongxing Internet of Things IoT department, headed by Zhang Feng, who has been promoted to senior vice president, reporting directly to Chen Chen and Liu Weiqi. Chapter 129, Hongxing Tablet. Boss, do you still have any ROC phones available? Oh, my old friend, I've sold out completely. You might want to wait a bit. I heard from above that new stock should arrive in a couple of days. The same goes for Amazon, which also shows is sold out, and it's quite vexing. I wanted to buy one for my dear Selena, hoping that receiving the phone might persuade her to join me for a delightful outdoor adventure. A young man dressed in casual attire left the mobile phone store somewhat displeased, grumbling as he exited. His good friend Morel had recently used a ROC phone to take a series of photos with his partner after they enjoyed a splendid weekend together. Though Morel still felt a bit lethargic, he enthusiastically shared how wonderful that weekend had been. Listening to Morel's stories filled him with envy, and he too wished to purchase a ROC phone for his newly found girlfriend, hoping to strengthen their budding relationship. When he attempted to buy one on Amazon, the website indicated that it was sold out. After visiting several mobile phone stores, he realized that acquiring a ROC phone was quite challenging, as not a single unit from this Chinese brand could be found in the large retailers surrounding Paris. After 1 month of sales, the ROC phone had surpassed 400,000 units sold. Such news quickly spread across foreign websites. Unlike the stock shortages in the European market, netizens across the ocean eagerly anticipated the phone's release in their country. Within Hongxing, operations continued to run smoothly, as the newly produced Kunpeng Phone 2, pre-installed with the international version of Xingyao OS, was swiftly dispatched to Europe, ready to take root in that unfamiliar territory. With the approach of the Spring Festival, it signified the imminent end of 2013. After contributing 27 million units in sales, the Xingyao 2 was finally set to conclude its historical mission. This model had achieved the highest shipment volume for Hongxing, making its successor a matter of great significance. The Xingyao 3 features the latest octa-core processor, the MediaTek 6592T, a 4.7-inch IPS fully bonded display with a 720p resolution, an 8-megapixel back-illuminated camera, and a camera module with a 5-lens setup from OV. The battery capacity has been upgraded to 2,500 mAh, maintaining an 18 GB standard memory configuration, while the high-end version offers a 216 GB memory configuration. The charging power remains unchanged at 18 watts. Due to last year's issues with the octa-core processor from FAGO, which suffered from overheating and leakage, FAGO introduced the 6592T processor at the end of 2013. By employing a new manufacturing process and reducing the clock speed, the overheating issues were significantly improved compared to the previous year. At first glance, the configuration of the Xingyao May 3rd not seem significantly enhanced. The improvements are not particularly substantial. After all, it is a budget phone. What more can one expect? The starting price for the 18 GB version remains at $799, while the 216 GB version is priced at $899. A larger screen version, the Xingyao Note 2, is also in development, but its release is not expected until July, so there's no rush. Currently, the most intensive development tasks rest with the Xingyao OS department and the newly established tablet division. In fact, the tablet development plan had commenced the previous year, as tablets are a crucial component of the ecological system. Adapting the system for tablets is particularly challenging, as Android-based tablets face difficulties in achieving system-level application compatibility on larger screens, and there is often little differentiation between the functions of Android tablets and smartphones. One could easily mistake a tablet for merely a larger smartphone. This explains why people tend to categorize tablets into two types: Apple's iPad series and all other tablets. In the eyes of many, Android tablets are simply large-screen Android phones designed for watching videos, playing games, and binge-watching shows. While it's not necessarily a significant issue that tablets resemble oversized phones, the primary challenge lies within the ecosystem. The early Android tablet ecosystem was unstable, with many functions overlapping between phones and tablets, yet lacking in interaction. The lack of interaction between tablets and phones became a major flaw for Android tablets. This defect is quite severe, and Huawei was the first to address these concerns, striving to enhance interaction experiences at the system level between phones and tablets, which gradually allowed Huawei's tablets to thrive. As for Rice, had it not been for the resurgence of the tablet market, the Rice tablet would have long since faded into obscurity. The leader of the tablet market, Apple, introduced the iPad Air series in 2013, marking the third generation of their product line. Its system fluidity and application performance were notably impressive, and Chen Chen knew that Apple would integrate professional-grade design features into their tablets, making them highly favored by many designers. Numerous designers and professionals appreciated utilizing Apple's iPad for their specialized designs, and the ability of Apple tablets to interact seamlessly with their smartphones significantly enhanced the productivity of these users. Consequently, whenever Android tablets were mentioned in relation to productivity, netizens would mockingly retort, "What productivity can an Android tablet offer? Just stick to being a cover for your instant noodles." The excellence of a technological product should not be judged solely by its specifications or the sentimental value it carries, nor should one be swayed by its brand story. The crucial criterion lies in its utility and the impact of its productivity on the user. Beyond its ecosystem and interactivity, Apple's peripheral products are notably abundant, boasting a lifespan that surpasses that of contemporaneous Android tablets. Chen Chen was acutely aware that this year, Apple would unveil the A8 processor, built on a 20nm process, and it would also be a 64-bit processor. Furthermore, this processor integrates a dual-core M8 coprocessor, capable of alleviating some basic tasks from the main processor, thereby reducing power consumption. Having fully experienced the ecological and system transformations of Android tablets in his previous life, Chen Chen understood that if Red Star aimed to excel in the tablet realm, significant efforts were required at the system level. It was insufficient to simply modify the Stellar OS from their smartphones and apply it to tablets. The interactive experience and supporting products also had to be of exceptional quality. Chen Chen would not permit the Red Star tablet, born in this pioneering era for Android tablets, to merely function as a large-screen smartphone. He aspired for their tablet to one day surpass Apple's offerings, in pursuit of providing the tablet with enhanced performance. Chen Chen was even willing to delay progress to await the mass production of Red Star's 20nm processor. Chapter 130. The New M Chip. Establishing an Android tablet ecosystem is as challenging as developing an independent system ecosystem, and it cannot be rushed. One must proceed step by step. Presently, Red Star stands as the leading company in domestic smart devices, without equal, and its ecological interactions can be perfectly transplanted onto tablets. Following the release of the Red Star bracelet, the system S-Star ring interconnection technology, once fully comprehended by the laboratory, would enable flawless interconnectivity between smartphones and tablets. Of course, the first step is to perfect the system and ensure that the performance is sufficiently robust. Chen Chen held great confidence in the capabilities of the proposed Lingxiao S4 chip, and with advancements in heat dissipation technology, the new tablet's performance tuning would be quite aggressive. A high-performing tablet product is more likely to garner consumer favor, as this device does not experience the same frequent replacement cycle as smartphones. Users prefer tablets that remain usable for an extended period rather than ones that become obsolete within a year or two of purchase. As a leader in the global semiconductor industry, TSMC had already been capable of producing 20-nanometer process chips since 2014, utilizing a new 20-nanometer processor. Provided it does not excessively stack cores or encounter design issues, would naturally yield significant performance improvements compared to 28-nanometer chips. During the 20-nanometer era, aggressive designs and forced core stacking, along with the introduction of 64-bit threading, led to the Snapdragon series becoming increasingly formidable. One cannot deny the strength of the Snapdragon 810S performance. When equipped with liquid cooling and semiconductor heat dissipation, this processor's capabilities are remarkably unleashed. However, even the most powerful processors face limitations within the confined internal spaces of smartphones. Other manufacturers, lacking the compact Yangtze River batteries that Redstar possesses, could not allocate space for effective heat dissipation modules, thereby hindering their internal designs. Moreover, the most crucial factor is that other manufacturers wishing to adopt the same heat dissipation modules as Redstar face a lack of alternative suppliers. Currently, the sole provider of copper pipe heat dissipation modules domestically is Telong, a supplier invested in by Redstar. While it is claimed that the heat dissipation technology is a collaborative development, in reality, it is simply Redstar's laboratory that provides the technology, with the supplier making process improvements for production. Other smartphone manufacturers wishing to procure this module must first seek Redstar's approval for sale. In summary, the larger space afforded by tablets allows processors to unleash greater performance. Thus, Redstar is particularly audacious in pursuing enhanced capabilities for tablet processors. It is time to establish an independent semiconductor division. Currently, Redstar's semiconductor department boasts over 800 engineers capable of designing various types of chips, such as the control IC found in Redstar's fast-charging chargers, which was developed by this department. By establishing the semiconductor division as an independent subsidiary, akin to Huawei's model, it would facilitate more efficient flat management rather than relying entirely on Redstar Corporation. Naturally, even if it were to operate independently, selling Lingxiao chips to other manufacturers would remain unrealistic, much like Huawei, which can only produce for its own use. The primary obstacle lies in the realm of communication patents. Other manufacturers utilizing Qualcomm chips need only pay Qualcomm, whereas employing Huawei or Redstar chips entails not only the procurement cost, but also an additional patent fee, rendering it less economical than directly acquiring Qualcomm chips. Dr. Liu, are you planning to release 3 models of Lingxiao processors this year? Upon entering the semiconductor department with Shenro and settling into Dr. Liu's office, Chen Chen eagerly inquired. It was not that Chen Chen was indifferent to the semiconductor department. Rather, aside from financial and resource support, he generally left the department to its own devices. For researchers, non-interference often constitutes the best form of management. Indeed, the Lingxiao S4 and Lingxiao C1 have already been designed and can be applied in our smartphones. Xiaoli is currently overseeing the wafer production at TSMC, and I believe we will receive good news shortly. It was evident that Dr. Liu was in high spirits. After Chen Chen presented the design blueprints for the 20-nanometer process chips last year, Dr. Liu's team had undertaken some variant designs based on this blueprint, resulting in the still incomplete M series of large chips. As for how the design blueprints for the boss's chips originated, Dr. Liu wisely refrained from probing further. Whether they were derived from a laboratory in the U.S. or acquired in Zhongguancun or Huiqiangbei was irrelevant to him. Dr. Liu understood the importance of discretion. Some matters are better left unspoken. And what about the other one? Upon mentioning this, Dr. Liu became even more animated. Gesturing as he spoke, I plan to name this chip the M series. Unlike the high-performance S series and the mid-to-low performance C series, I refer to this one as super performance. Firstly, it is nearly twice the size of the S series, allowing for the integration of more transistors. For the first time, we have also integrated the Kition baseband. It features 8 main cores, 6 of which are large cores and 2 are small cores, alongside 48 GPU cores. Its graphical processing performance represents a 130 improvement compared to our Lingxiao S3. The most crucial point is that, for the first time, we have integrated a dedicated IPS chip into this processor, not merely an IPS module, but an entirely novel chip. This enhancement endows our processor with an augmented computational capacity to effectively manage photography and image processing. Chen Chen nodded in agreement. Products developed by the system are bound to be of exquisite quality. It is only natural that this M-series chip, meticulously designed based on the system specifications, boasts superior performance. However, Chen Chen's greater concern lies with the C-series, which caters to the mid-range and lower-end markets. This segment constitutes the bulk of Red Star's shipments. In the foreseeable future, the mid-range chip landscape will have but one option, the Gaodong 6 series processor. Notably, the Gaodong Snapdragon 625 is a household name. Its ubiquity across numerous models remains a mystery, as does the sheer volume of units Gaodong has produced. Chen Chen is aware that this chip has been utilized by various smartphone manufacturers for a full 3 years. Currently, Red Star's mid-range smartphones utilize the Lingxiao S2 processor, an outdated flagship processor that is merely adequate. Unlike Gaodong's stringent, tiered approach, in which they would never allow manufacturers to employ flagship processors in mid-range devices, even outdated ones. Red Star can allocate its processors as it sees fit. The C-series processor was initiated at the beginning of last year, and, after completing simulation testing by year-end, it was sent to TSMC for tape-out in January, with mass production anticipated by mid-year. The Lingxiao C1 processor is designed to compete directly with Gaodong's 6 series processors, achieving a 17 performance enhancement over Gaodong's Snapdragon 600. However, it still falls short of Gaodong's graphical processing capabilities. How significant is the gap? Chen Chen inquired. Chapter 131, confirmed. Utilizing a pop-up structure, the graphical processing performance is expected to be approximately 20 lower than Gaodong's. 20% lower? Chen Chen pondered this disparity, noting that each generation of Lingxiao processors has typically matched Gaodong's processors in CPU performance, yet the graphical processing has consistently lagged behind by about 30 to 20. Nevertheless, users generally do not engage in gaming on mid-range smartphones. For ordinary games, the differences are imperceptible. Thus, this degree of disparity is deemed acceptable. This processor is primarily suited for the Shining Note series. The current Shining Note, equipped with the Lingxiao S2, has begun to struggle against increasingly cumbersome software. The transition to the C1 processor, manufactured using a 20-nanometer process, is expected to yield a qualitative leap in performance. After a moment of silence, Chen Chen lifted his gaze to Dr. Liu and stated, Dr. Liu, I am preparing to spin off our processor business in the second half of this year to establish Lingxiao Semiconductor Company. Henceforth, you will report directly to headquarters, and the group will continue to provide support. Establish a new company? Indeed, in the next 1 to 2 years, we will invest in and strategize within the semiconductor supply chain, all under the auspices of Lingxiao Semiconductor. This will foster the group's healthy development and management. The group will not impose excessive interference internally. I wish for you to oversee the new company. After Chen Chen finished speaking, Lu Yuanjiang fell silent for the first time. He understood that as the company reaches a certain threshold of development, this approach is indeed the optimal choice. Compared to managing the company, Dr. Liu would prefer to remain in the research laboratory. Mr. Chen, I prefer to stay in the lab. Regarding the management of the new company, I suggest that headquarters send someone directly, as our team lacks expertise in business and administrative management. After a lengthy pause, Dr. Liu declined Chen Chen's proposal, which Chen Chen had anticipated. It is not particularly realistic to have these researchers also assume managerial roles. The suggestion to appoint Dr. Liu as the company leader was, in truth, a gesture of appreciation towards him. Very well, we can discuss this further when Mr. Liu returns. The restructuring process is projected to commence around June of this year, so please be mentally prepared. Understood. After leaving the semiconductor department, Chen Chen reflected on Dr. Liu's comments regarding the M-series processor, which possesses formidable performance but undoubtedly generates considerable heat. While it could be employed in tablets, relying solely on this product line may not justify the expenses associated with the chip. The full-screen X series? However, it remains uncertain whether the X series, which utilizes a pop-up structure, has sufficient space to accommodate this sizable chip. Currently, the development of the full-screen model is facing challenges, particularly with the screen. The COG-packaged LCD screen cannot achieve a smaller chin, and the manufacturing process for the microcrystalline zirconia ceramic body is progressing slowly. The developer responsible for this model, Chen, has repeatedly suggested abandoning the ceramic body in favor of 3D glass with a stainless steel or aluminum alloy frame. Nevertheless, Chen Chen has consistently rejected these proposals. If we are to do it, we must do it to perfection, to astonish the world. We aim to create a device that will etch Red Star into the annals of smartphone history. The primary challenge of the microcrystalline zirconia ceramic process lies in sintering. Conducting this process at several thousand degrees Celsius means that any slight error could render an entire batch of products unsalvageable. Producing experimental units is straightforward. However, Chen Chen desires not merely small-scale production, but aims for mass production upon release. Lower yields are acceptable, but mass production is essential. Concurrently, the development of the miniature speaker has not proceeded smoothly in collaboration with suppliers. In a confined space at the top, achieving a sufficiently large sound chamber while maintaining a small opening is indeed a daunting task. Fortunately, there is an alternative solution. If the miniature speaker cannot be mass-produced upon completion of the device, we could employ bone conduction technology, enabling the frame of the device to produce sound directly. This technology is readily available and has undergone significant development, rendering it quite mature. One of the ecological chain enterprises in which Red Star has invested has developed a toothbrush utilizing bone conduction technology, which amused Chen Chen. If you're going to make an electric toothbrush, then just make an electric toothbrush. What on earth is a bone conduction electric toothbrush? Listening to music while brushing your teeth? When Zhang Feng submitted this proposal last year, Chen Chen couldn't help but laugh. The engineers at Beibei Toothbrush Company had indeed demonstrated creativity by integrating a gyroscope within the electric toothbrush, utilizing bone conduction for sound. The premise was that the toothbrush would have a predetermined program, and the gyroscope would monitor the user's brushing angle in real time. If the angle was incorrect or the brushing duration was insufficient, it would emit sound through bone conduction to alert the user. Zhang Feng had cheekily noted that this toothbrush could connect to Xingjia, allowing users to OTA upgrade, writing in songs to resolve the issue of not being able to listen to music while brushing. Ultimately, Chen Chen approved the project, not for profit, but primarily to see what the engineers could create. This reflects one of the cultural values Chen Chen wishes to cultivate within the company. As long as engineers have innovative ideas, the company will support their endeavors. Mr. Chen, our pop-up structure can now achieve a lifespan of 150,000 cycles, with a deployment time of under 2 seconds. When users activate the front camera or video call, our pop-up structure will extend and activate the front lens within 2 seconds. Chen Chen furrowed his brow. 2 seconds? That seems a bit slow. The head of the front structure noticed Chen Chen's expression, recognizing his dissatisfaction with the speed, and quickly responded. Mr. Chen, we are continuing to optimize, currently. Our fastest retractable speed has been improved to 1.85 seconds. Your long-term goal is to achieve under 1 second, while the short-term target should be around 1.2 seconds. Furthermore, a lifespan of 150,000 cycles is still less than ideal. We should aim for 200,000 to 300,000 cycles or more. I can afford to wait for time, but we must ensure absolute reliability. Do you understand? As the product line of Hongxing continues to expand, Chen Chen has scarcely devoted particular attention to the developmental progress of any specific model, with the sole exception being the full-screen series. It can be said that resources are readily provided, with many components being customized or jointly developed with suppliers, reflecting a significant level of importance placed on this endeavor. Were it not for the company's need to navigate its own course, Chen Chen would even consider personally assuming the role of product manager for this model. Rest assured, we will absolutely not delay the overall progress, he assured, nodding in response to the guarantees from the head of the front camera module. It is imperative that we continue to enhance not only the longevity and speed, but also the reliability. There must be no scenario where users attempt to activate the front camera and find it unresponsive. No problem, Mr. Chen. Based on the current pace, it appears nearly impossible for this model to enter mass production in the first half of the year. Ultimately, the greatest challenge lies with the screen. If Chen Chen can accept a 7mm chin, the model could be launched immediately and enter small-scale production. I hope Dr. Zhou's trip to Korea goes smoothly. Chapter 132, Minister Park. Mr. Park, in the first quarter of 2014, our sales in the European market plummeted by 17 percentage points, particularly with the Galaxy S3 and Note 3 experiencing severe declines. In the Chinese market, overall sales decreased by 4 over the past year, with the most significant drop occurring in the mid-range segment. The newly appointed president of the Samsung Mobile Division, Park Etienne, was in his office listening to a report from his subordinates regarding the past year's market performance of Samsung phones. In his view, with Nokia completely collapsing and HTC on the brink of extinction, Samsung's only rival in the future mobile market would be Apple. By 2013, Samsung's market share in Europe had reached 36, and it was also substantial in the United States, with a market share of 23 in China. While envisioning the possibility of catching up to Apple, He was blindsided by the previous year's market report. Samsung's market share in Europe had been remarkably stable, with fluctuations remaining within mere decimal points. He did not anticipate such a drastic 17% drop in sales in the first quarter. The Galaxy S3 and Note 3 were severely impacted. Did Apple offer any promotions? Or was there an issue with the models I purchased? Why have I not received any related reports? Park Etienne's expression grew displeased as he inquired of Manager Choi, who stood before him. Mr. Park, it's not that there is an issue with our models, nor has Apple taken any action. Rather, a Chinese mobile company named Hongxing has emerged in the European market. And their first model, the ROC, has become exceedingly popular. The price range we are affected by precisely overlaps with that of the ROC phone. Hongxing? Park Etienne repeated the unfamiliar name, perplexed as to why he had not heard of this brand before. They are a mobile company that re-emerged in China last year. Founded by Chen Chen, Hongxing was established in 1998 in the capital of China, initially producing counterfeit phones. After Chen Chen passed away in 2011, his son Chen Chen took over the company, and the models released under his leadership have garnered market acclaim. In 2012, he launched the Kunpeng brand under Hongxing, and the ROC phone currently in the European market is part of this Kunpeng brand. They have made significant advancements in fast charging technology. The ROC phone now boasts a charging power of 50 watts. How much? 50 watts. Park Etienne gasped at this figure, taken aback, as Samsung's own charging power had only just reached 10 watts this year. How could a Chinese company achieve a charging power of 50 watts? Manager Choi, who had been diligently reporting on Hongxing's information, was also startled by his superior's exclamation. It was clear that this individual, oblivious to the recent shifts in the mobile market, had somehow risen to the position of head of Samsung's mobile division. Not only American consumers, but also numerous internet users in Korea were eager to experience Hongxing's super-fast charging technology. It was astonishing that Park Etienne remained unaware of this. Indeed, Mr. Park, Hongxing has indeed achieved a maximum charging power of 50 watts. Moreover, they have developed a new battery called the Yangtze River, which boasts a higher energy density than LG's high-voltage batteries. Is that so? Park Etienne's astonishment deepened. The latest high-voltage battery from LG reaches a maximum voltage of 44 volts. Given the same capacity, their high-voltage battery occupies a smaller volume. As competitors, we at Samsung have also initiated research and development on new batteries. It is surprising to learn that a Chinese enterprise has surpassed LG. What about the screens they use? Have they opted to procure our Samsung screens? Park Etienne's mind began to race. Samsung screens are renowned worldwide for their superiority, and many Chinese companies incorporate Samsung displays into their phones. If Hongxing's phones were to utilize Samsung screens, could he leverage his connections in the display department to gain some advantage over Hongxing? Perhaps he could persuade them to share their battery technology and fast charging innovations? Manager Choi cast him a quizzical glance and replied, Mr. Park, all their screens are produced domestically in China, and they were actually the first to adopt 1080p screens 2 years ago, even before us. Park Etienne struggled to contain his frustration. What nonsense is this? Hongxing has not procured our Samsung screens? Are they unaware that our screens are the best in the world? Unable to dwell on this further, he shifted his inquiry. What are the reasons for the decline in the Chinese market? Have our high-end models been affected? The most significant drop occurred in the price range of 1,000 to 2,000, where several Chinese manufacturers engaged in a fierce battle last year, including Xiaomi, Huawei, and Hongxing, which now firmly control this price segment. As for our high-end models, we have not experienced much impact. We continue to hold the second position in the Chinese market. Hearing that the high-end models had remained largely unscathed eased Park Etienne's mind. A slight decline in the low-end market was inconsequential. After all, how much profit could be made from low-end devices? It was reasonable to leave some room for Chinese manufacturers while they enjoyed the lion's share of the high-end market. You may leave now. From now on, report to me immediately regarding any news about Hongxing. Once Manager Choi exited, Park Etienne retrieved his phone and made a call. Minister Jean, this is Park Etienne. How is Secretary Zheng, who was transferred last month, working out for you? I would like to ask you for a favor. If Hongxing approaches us to procure screens, please let me know. Absolutely, no problem at all. I'll send Ms. Lee over to you soon. Chapter 133. A Journey to the Land of the Morning Calm. After hanging up the phone, Park Etienne smiled contentedly. It is no exaggeration to claim that Samsung's OLED screens are the finest in the world. He had just meticulously reviewed the report on Hongxing's ROC phone, which emphasized that Hongxing utilized domestically produced LCD screens that fell short in brightness, color vibrancy, and saturation compared to the diamond arrangement of the Galaxy Note 3. It was evident that Hongxing harbored ambitions of entering the high-end market. However, Park Etienne understood that Samsung's breakthroughs in OLED screen technology would soon render LCD panels obsolete. If Hongxing sought to ascend into the high-end arena, they would inevitably find themselves entangled with Samsung's OLED screens. This is the trend of the future. Threesong can leverage its OLED screens to reap substantial profits while simultaneously exerting influence over smartphone manufacturers worldwide. As for domestic OLED screens from Huaxia, let's not kid ourselves. The LCD technology and production lines currently employed in Huaxia are remnants discarded by both Little Japan and Threesong. The prospect of achieving independent mass production is nearly impossible. Even if they could technically mass-produce OLED screens, they would still be ensnared by Threesong's patents. Presently, the most advanced pixel arrangement patents are firmly in Threesong's possession, making it implausible for Huaxia to produce OLED screens superior to those of Threesong. The only viable course is to spend lavishly on procuring screens from Threesong. By opting for Threesong S screens, Huaxia can easily exert influence over them through their relationship with Jin Zhaisher in the screen division. Do they think the women I provide are so easily obtained? In a colossal conglomerate like Threesong, mere capability is insufficient. To navigate this realm, one must possess power and connections. My current position is a result of leveraging General Lee's connections. With such backing, I'm unperturbed by any lack of cooperation from Jin Zhaisher. It is a pity that Li Xiuzhu, whom I scarcely enjoyed, must now be sent to Jin Zhaisher. Meanwhile, the procurement department head from Hongxing, along with Dr. Zhou and their entourage, has also arrived in the land of the morning calm, with the sole aim of engaging with Threesong. Prior to this, Hongxing had already reached out to the Huaxia division of Threesong, expressing interest in purchasing a batch of their OLED screens. However, due to Threesong's own production capacity being allocated to the Galaxy and Note series, the head of the Huaxia division indicated that he lacked the authority to facilitate this request. He suggested that Hongxing directly contact Threesong's headquarters, which led to Dr. Zhou and the others' journey to the land of the morning calm. Manager Tang, Minister Zhou, I have sent a visit request to Threesong, but they have yet to respond. Upon landing, several young individuals awaited Dr. Zhou and his team at the airport. No worries, we can afford to wait a few days, apart from Threesong. We also have LG as an option, Tang Mang remarked to the young advance team. This marks Hongxing's inaugural collaboration with Threesong, and the company places great importance on it. After 2 years of diligent effort, Huaxia's current LCD screen technology has essentially caught up to the standards set by Little Japan 2 years prior, with display quality and brightness that rival current offerings. Nonetheless, a significant gap remains concerning top-tier screens. One must remember that the screens available in the market are certainly not the finest produced by manufacturers like Sharp. The best are typically reserved for internal use or not sold at all. Reflecting on the past, Little Japan had a firm grip on the entire Huaxia market for television panels, dictating price and capacity with an iron hand. Take it or leave it, as you could not produce it yourself. It was only when the Huaxia government made a decisive investment in this sector that affordable LCD televisions emerged. When Huaxia conquers a technical challenge, it often results in a dramatic drop in production costs due to the vast industrial framework and capacity we possess. This phenomenon applies to both television and mobile phone panels. Yet, in terms of the most advanced technologies, Huaxia still lags behind established manufacturers. After settling into their hotel, Dr. Zhou turned to Tang Mang and inquired, "Do you believe Threesong is stalling us or simply unwilling to sell their screens?" After a moment of contemplation, Tang Mang speculated, "I suspect both factors play a role. It seems Threesong wishes to temper our enthusiasm, positioning themselves advantageously in the forthcoming negotiations, given that we are the ones seeking to purchase screens from them. Furthermore, it is likely that there is a lack of consensus within Threesong itself." "Oh, what do you mean by that?" Dr. Zhou asked, intrigued. Originally a manager in Hongxing's operator channel department under Su Guangyi, Tang Mang had been marginalized by Su, who was ousted by Lu Weibing. Upon discovering that Tang Mang was a breath of fresh air within the channel department, having refrained from accepting kickbacks, Lu Weibing took an interest in him. Following a thorough evaluation, Lu appointed him to the procurement department, where Tang Mang quickly proved to be adept at communication and negotiation with suppliers, showcasing his talents. With a keen market sense and unique insights into new technologies and proposals from suppliers, Tang Mang was promoted to manager and eventually to his current role as minister. This expedition to the land of the morning calm is led by him and Dr. Zhou, with one focusing on technical aspects and the other on business collaboration. I surmise that Threesong's current top-tier OLED screen production capacity is insufficient. Should they choose to sell, they would need to expand their production lines. With relatively few smartphone manufacturers currently utilizing OLED technology, the risk associated with expanding production without sufficient orders is considerable for 3-song. Additionally, there is an element of fear that complicates their internal consensus. Fear? What could they possibly fear? Aren't they the sole dominators in the OLED market? Dr. Zhou queried. Not entirely. Besides 3-song, another conglomerate in the land of the morning calm, LG, possesses OLED technology that is not inferior to 3-song-S. However, due to 3-song's prior registration of the top-tier diamond arrangement patent and their acquisition of the American company that originally held it, LG finds itself unable to compete with 3-song in the realm of premier screens. Upon hearing this, Dr. Zhou appeared even more perplexed. If what you say is true, and 3-song fears LG closing the gap, they should be expanding production to seize a larger share of the market by selling their screens. Why the hesitation? Dr. Zhou, you must understand that 3-song is not solely a screen division. They lead the world in smartphone shipments, particularly in the high-end market, where their screens serve as a key selling point. By selling their top-tier OLED screens, they would inadvertently increase competitive pressure from other manufacturers in the high-end market. I speculate that 3-song aims to advance their screen technology to a point where they fully control the relevant patents and establish a substantial technological gap, rendering other manufacturers incapable of using their screens as a selling point. Dr. Zhou nodded thoughtfully. Hongxing possesses its own OLED screen technology. However, Huaxia has yet to fully master this technology. The trial production batch yielded screens that, in terms of visual quality, were even inferior to 3-song's offerings from 2 years ago. The engineers in the joint laboratory between Huaxia and Hongxing are working under intense pressure to assimilate this technology and produce a top-tier OLED screen representative of Huaxia. While Huaxia's leadership expresses optimism about small-scale production within the next year, Hongxing cannot afford to wait that long. The establishment of an OLED production line is not a matter of immediate implementation. Such advanced automated production lines require a significant investment of time, regardless of Huaxia's willingness to overlook costs. In addition to Huaxia, Jing Dongfang is also engaged in research on OLED screens, with projected production slated for 2016. But Hongxing simply cannot wait that long. Moreover, Huaxia holds the patent rights for Hongxing's pearl diamond-like arrangement, while Jing Dongfang's Chen Chen is aware that their initial development will likely focus on the yellow duck arrangement, which will undoubtedly fall short of the pearl arrangement in display quality. In the previous era, the development of domestic OLED screens was heavily influenced by 3-song's diamond arrangement. With 3-song holding this patent, Huaxia manufacturers found themselves unable to utilize it to produce screens with superior display quality. Consequently, domestic manufacturers were compelled to adopt the yellow duck arrangement for a period, during which one particular manufacturer faced severe backlash from consumers, as the disparity with 3-song-S screens was glaringly apparent. Certainly, the consumers of our great Huaxia still exhibit considerable support for domestically produced goods. The criticism does not stem from the utilization of domestically crafted little yellow duck screens, but rather from a hesitation to articulate for fear of denunciation. Subsequently, after several years of development aided by mobile phone manufacturers and government support, domestic firms have found alternative routes to circumvent the diamond arrangement of Samsung, namely through a quasi-diamond configuration, although there remains a slight disparity in display performance. This difference is nearly negligible. The screen technology and craftsmanship afforded to Chen Chen is precisely the quasi-diamond arrangement technology that future domestic manufacturers will adopt. Aptly named Pearl Arrangement by the Red Star United Laboratory. If it were merely a matter of screen arrangement, Huaxia would not have devoted such extensive research efforts to this technology without yet mastering it. Dr. Zhou understands that the crux of this screen technology lies not in the innovative arrangement itself, but rather in the novel luminescent materials. This is the challenge that has stymied the United Laboratory. When it comes to cutting-edge research on OLED organic materials in Huaxia, the gap with foreign advancements is not substantial. In fact, we may even hold a slight edge. However, we lag significantly in terms of intellectual property rights related to materials and deposition equipment. In terms of upstream material enterprises, Huaxia is largely self-sufficient, with companies such as Yinqing Xianhua, Zhejiang Huaxian, Guolian, and Beijing Xia, each possessing a degree of technological accumulation in various functional layers, such as light extraction layers, electron blocking layers, and hole blocking layers. Conversely, deposition equipment is nearly monopolized by Taki and Sunic. Regarding luminescent layer materials, Huaxia has a solid technological foundation, so there is little cause for concern. The real challenge for the United Laboratory pertains to the guest materials used to dope the luminescent substrate materials. Due to the organic nature of the substrate materials, which cannot simultaneously achieve high electron mobility and optimal luminous efficiency. It is customary to incorporate a small quantity of organic fluorescent materials into the luminescent materials to enhance the lifespan and efficiency of the primary luminescent materials. In the context of the red star screen technology, the guest material employed is a groundbreaking phosphorescent material that significantly boosts luminous efficiency. The primary distinction between this material and fluorescent materials is its internal quantum efficiency, IQE, and it can emit light using triplet states, achieving luminous efficiency 4 times greater than currently utilized fluorescent materials. Dr. Zhou is aware that many visible products and technologies from Huaxia are not inferior to those abroad. Yet when delving into foundational materials, the disparities become glaringly apparent. Should the Red Star United secure advancements in this innovative materials technology, Huaxia could erect formidable patent barriers in this domain. Any manufacturer aspiring to develop OLED screens seeking higher brightness and efficiency would find it impossible to circumvent Huaxia. This would allow Huaxia to acquire numerous advanced technological patents from foreign firms through cross-licensing agreements. Indeed, Minister Tang possesses profound insights. Once our screens are ready for mass production, not only Samsung, but even Park Jin-hai will not keep our Red Star personnel waiting. Haha, my procurement responsibilities will become significantly lighter then, Tang Mang remarked with a chuckle. However, it remains uncertain when our domestic screen industry will truly flourish. Dr. Zhou stepped forward and gently patted Tang Mang's shoulder. Minister Tang, as the procurement head, you should grasp Chairman Chen's strategy. Rest assured, our entire industrial chain in Huaxia is poised for development, and it's likely that 4 manufacturers will come to Huaxia to procure components in the future. Tang Mang nodded in agreement. Red Star's mobile phones, particularly the Shining series, prioritize the use of products from the Huaxia industrial chain in many of their components. Chairman Chen once mentioned something about the 863 program. Tang Mang is well aware of the upper echelon's affairs. There are questions that should remain unasked, and knowledge that, even if acquired, ought to be feigned ignorance of, with all actions aligned with Chairman Chen's directives. Currently, the optical lens module from Tianguang Optical Instruments is employed in the Red Star 3. Although the sensor is still from Sony, Tang Mang realizes that with increased investment and support for this optical instrument manufacturer, there will come a day when Red Star's phones will feature their own sensors, not only in batteries, screens, and back cover materials, but even including the glass panels of the phones. Chairman Chen is intensifying collaboration with suppliers, transitioning from initial procurement to customization and now to joint development. His commitment to nurturing the domestic supply chain is truly unwavering. Minister Tang, surely those South Koreans won't keep us waiting indefinitely, right? I have a plethora of matters to attend to back home. After a day at the hotel, Dr. Zhou was beginning to feel agitated. Do these South Koreans really carry such an inflated sense of importance? I have countless responsibilities back home as well. Since Chairman Chen specifically designated our presence here, we must strive to fulfill our tasks effectively. If we do not receive news from Samsung by tomorrow, we shall urge them. Chapter 135. The Journey to the Land of the South Koreans 3. Minister Park, I've kept the Red Star team waiting for 2 days to temper their enthusiasm. However, I cannot leave them hanging for too long, so please see to it. Minister Jean expressed his intention. Well, Park Yi-tian pursed his lips. Addressing the person on the other end of the line, rest assured, Minister Jean, Miss Lee will appear where she is meant to be tonight. Park Yi-tian was in good spirits. He had just stated that if Red Star sought to procure screens, they could leverage their position, particularly regarding the Yangtze River battery. To his surprise, immediately after greeting Jean Jae-suk from the screen department, the Red Star representative arrived. It was as if a pillow had been delivered to him, just as he felt drowsy. Having kept Jean Jae-suk waiting for 2 days, he was determined to adopt a more assertive stance in the upcoming collaborative negotiations. Minister Tang, Dr. Zhou, we have received word from Samsung. Tomorrow afternoon, Jean Jae-suk from their screen department will engage in discussions with us. Splendid. Completing our task early would allow us to return home sooner. I truly cannot stomach the cuisine of this country, Dr. Zhou lamented, recalling that even during his youth in the United States, the food was superior to what these South Koreans offered. Just 2 days had passed, yet Dr. Zhou felt as if he had endured 2 months. What a farce of a feast, presenting a table laden with nothing but pickled vegetables.